fucks have run up dry. I've tried to go fuck shopping, but there's no fucks left to buy. I've no more fucks to give, no more fucks I've tried to get. I'm over my fuck budget and I'm now in fucking debt.
Well, you eliminated one of them.
Yeah, the one that was all grabby.
Oh,
Ooh, I won!
There you go.
Woo! I always have to do this. Are you ready? Hey!
I see you, little baby Bowser bitch. Oh, you whore. I'm gonna get your ass. I'm gonna get you too. Oh, who grabbed the who grabbed the plant? Oh my god, I'm gonna get... Wait, did I win? Did I fucking win? I won!
Hey. I'm gonna fuck down. Oh, no, I'm out of ammo. Come on. Dance.
You went through the door and I went like through a window.
Shit!
This gave Harley a heart attack.
You did. Move, please. I'm trying to run. Damn it!
That was a mid-air strike. Somebody else shooting at me too? Where are you people coming from? How are my 90s? They suck.
Flair's in a different mode right now. If you leave a message after the beep, he might get back to you after
If you leave a message after the stab, he might think about it. Until then, you should have luck, friend.
Yeah.
That's right, bitch. Eat it!
Let's see.
grab the right screen. Hello, boys and girls, children of all ages, and special guest people. Welcome to episode 3 of our favorite podcast, The Golden Show, featuring Miss Harley B and our very, very special guest, DanasKitchen.
Hi, I can hear you
Hello.
now. Okay,
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you there for a second. Hi,
Hi.
how are you? I don't know if you said anything. All I heard was Dana's Kitchen.
Yeah, I said that. Hello, boys and girls, children of all ages, and a bunch of other jazz. So we're gonna go ahead and start the show off with a little cooking tutorial by Dana, and I'm going to turn it over to her to make her the focus. And then once she's done doing all of that, we'll go on into the interview, and anyone in chat is able to ask questions and we will screen them and then ask her as appropriate. So without further ado, Dana, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Well, one of my favorite things to make is, besides tacos, is meatballs. And I have this recipe that I use quite often. It's chicken parmesan meatballs. So what's great about it is you can put it on pasta or you can serve it as an appetizer. So I do that a lot. Like if I have people over, I'll make that with some like Italian bread or something so that they can have a little appetizer with it. So that's what we're going to start off. And first I'm going to make the sauce. Robbie and I went to Italy last year, and one thing I can tell you, first of all, chicken parmesan is not an Italian dish; it's an American Italian dish. But food in Italy is pretty simple. They don't complicate it like we like to complicate a lot of food, or you see a lot of people complicate food. So our sauce is pretty simple. The first thing I did was I have made an herb oil. So it's got garlic, rosemary, basil, thyme, and then I put some red pepper flakes in there, and all of those were fresh, other than the red pepper flakes. And you bring it to a boil, and you'll see it boiling as the water content of the herbs cooks out, and then you let it steep. And if you see people on television cooking, like in Iron Chef or Beat Bobby Flay or any of those kinds of things, a lot of times what they do is they bring their oil already done, because then they don't have to like do a lot of work, you know. So if you have something at home that you cook with, that you cook a lot, that requires oil and a lot of herbs, you can just make your own herb oil, and then that'll save you a step along the way. So that's Dana's pro tip for the day. So we're going to put a couple tablespoons in here. We're going to start by making our sauce, and then we'll make our meatballs. So I'm putting about 2 or 3 tablespoons in there. One thing you'll find out about me is I don't measure stuff very often, so unless I'm baking. So I'll just go, yeah, that looks good.
Well, in cooking, don't they call it like measuring with your heart?
Measure with your heart, absolutely. You want to
Yeah.
measure with your heart. So we're going to be using, to make our sauce, I've got this can of San Marzano tomatoes. This is what you will find in Italy as well. And make sure that if you really want real San Marzano tomatoes, because a lot of people are packaging things up to make it look like it is, it should have a DOP number on it, which means that the Department of Agriculture over in Italy has said, yes, these are truly good San Marzano tomatoes here. So you want to make sure it has that on it. And so I use whole tomatoes. If you get them this way, you're getting kind of the purest part of it, as opposed to like if you start getting them diced and everything. It's not that I don't use diced tomatoes, I use them a lot. But if I'm making a sauce, I prefer to do it with the full ones. So we're going to do that. So all of this sauce is going to have, it's going to have that herbed oil. It's going to have these tomatoes that are going to start to cook and break down. And then at the end, I'm going to put a couple of anchovies in there. So Robbie will tell you he doesn't like anchovies. He's wrong. He actually really likes anchovies, no matter what he says, because I do put them in things. They're a great way for umami in your food.
You're telling me you sneak stuff into the food and
All the time. He's like, I don't like that. And I'm like, yes, you do. Or he'll say, I've never had that before. And I'm like, yes, you have. So
I do that with my kids.
do you? I mean,
do.
Robbie's just like a big kid. So, and if you're new, like just Robbie is my boyfriend, but he's also my tech guy, my dog wrangler, my dishwasher, my bartender, my logistical elevation technician, and whatever else I decide I need in any particular day. So anyway, I like to get these little jarred sardines because then I can put the cap back on them and I can use them over the course of the next week or so, as opposed to the tinned ones. Yeah, that's what I do. So if you're cooking with those tomatoes, you can use like an old masher from a mash, that you use for mashed potatoes, potato masher. That's what we call it, a potato masher, that thing that mashes potatoes. Or you can just use a spoon. So, and then I'm going to put a little salt in there too. Now, I'm showing you the way I like to make this. I'm going to tell you right now, depending on what I have in my kitchen, I may not make it exactly this way. If I have a passata in the kitchen and I don't have whole tomatoes, I'll just use passata, which is just a tomato puree. I have used tomato sauce in the past. I don't use it too terribly often unless a recipe is adamant that I must use tomato sauce because that is a cooked tomato. I'd rather cook it myself. I used to buy a lot of prepared stuff to use in cooking, and I've gotten to where I would rather know what I'm putting in my food, and so making more stuff from scratch. I don't know about you guys. What about you guys?
I started doing that this year. I started making my own spaghetti sauce, like no sugar
I
added, just to stay kind of
you
like
got to do what you got to do. When I had
lower
kids
on the
and was
carb
running
side.
around and taking them to all the things
Oh
and
yeah.
doing
And
all the
then
mom
I
things, you just got to do what you got to do sometimes,
I do.
you know?
And then I mason jar them and like put them
So
in the
there's no
fridge.
shame in that. So we're
Yeah.
going to let that go ahead and sit over here and cook, and I'm going to start making the meatballs. So we're going to make our meatballs from I'm going to try and do this in 30 minutes. So what I've got is I've got 2 pounds of chicken. A lot of times I will grind my own meat, but for time's sake here, we've purchased it. And I have got chicken breast and dark chicken because my grocery store is awesome, and I have the option of having one or the other.
I'm jealous of your grocery
And
store.
chicken breast is nice and lean, but it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor to it. So I cook with chicken breast. I mean, I cook with chicken thighs way more often than I cook with chicken breast because it just tastes better. So we're going to do this and use both of these and mix them up. And I'm going to go put this away and wash my hands for putting the other stuff in there.
No salmonella here today, people.
You become a lot more conscious of washing your hands when you're doing a cooking stream.
Yeah, you do.
You're like, I can't let people know I might contaminate the food. All right. I'm just going to keep checking in on my sauce here. I don't want it to reduce down too terribly much. I mostly want to get those tomatoes cooked so they break down. All right, we're going to put some salt in here because everything is better with salt. Don't let Robbie see how much salt I put in there. He's always complaining about that. We're going to use some panko, and I've got both. I pulled all of mine out. I didn't know if this was open yet or not. It's not. I've got enough herbs and stuff. So we're going to put about 4 ounces in here. Wait a minute. Where's my scale? I've got it out somewhere. This is also something I do a lot is I wander around my kitchen aimlessly looking for things that I've conveniently put someplace that I can't find it right in front of my face.
I feel that.
All right, so we're gonna do about 4 ounces of this. I'm measuring for you guys. You're welcome. It's a little more. I was when I was in Italy, I was cooking with this woman that we had stayed at this bed and breakfast, and the owner had owns a commercial kitchen appliance place. So I was cooking with his wife in the kitchen. I'm going to need this again because I need to measure cheese. Um, and we would measure stuff and she'd go over and then she'd just go, she didn't speak hardly any English and I spoke hardly no Italian. So it was really kind of fun. She'd go, no problem. No problem. So I wasn't really quite sure what the measurements of things were supposed to be. All right, we're going to put a couple eggs in here as well. Try not to get any shells in there. That was a really terrible cracking of the egg there. That one was better. You probably should put those in another little bowl and lightly scramble them so that you're not getting like all yolk in one part. But here we are. Dana didn't do it right, so we're fine.
Just
All right,
depends
I
on
get
the
about 2.5
situation.
tablespoons of this, and I am measuring this just because I don't want to have to fool with the consistency. Because a lot of times I'll do this and then I'll add stuff as I need to with the consistency. So this is our herbed oil. So now I don't have to put any herbs in this because I already got the oil with the herbs in it. Yeah, see? Look how much
Smart.
time I saved there, like
Right.
30 seconds.
Hey, that 30
All right.
seconds could be placed somewhere else in the
Actually, I am going to
kitchen.
put some herbs in there too. So, and I don't know if you guys say something and I don't respond to it, I didn't hear you. So hopefully I can, because I don't hear, I guess you guys are muted right now.
Nope.
I'm muted, but I
I
don't
don't hear
know if
him
Harley
at all.
is.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
I'm not
quiet,
hearing you
guys.
guys. Sorry. So we don't know what's going on. Is this not connected?
Maybe her headphones are off.
Did it disconnect? Hang on. Let's see here.
Hello
Can
there.
you hear us?
Connect.
Hello.
Oh, interesting. This isn't good, Robbie.
Oh no.
Oh no.
At least
not
my
the
mic is
headphones.
working.
Yeah, we can
It
hear
is
you.
working very
Oh,
well.
that is boiling too much. Let's turn that off. Hang on. We are trying to figure out why I am not hearing anything.
Oh, it might be a setting in Discord.
Maybe. She's got
I
all the
was hearing.
permissions. Honestly, she was hearing things, so.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. I heard a beep.
Did you hear it
Oh.
now?
Can I hear you? Can you guys talk again? I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, still don't hear it.
It literally might
I
be
can.
inside
Let me
of
see if I
Discord.
plug myself back in,
No,
which means
but,
I can't move very far.
well, I was gonna say, I think it might be also.
That's weird because I was hearing you guys. So what's happened?
Yeah, let's see.
Oh, now I can hear you.
There we go.
Maybe the
But I'm
batteries
plugged
were
in.
low?
I shouldn't have been. It was plugged in all the way until we started, but that's going to be interesting. So I'm going to have to stay really close over here and not go very far. All right, we're going to
You
put a
can't
couple
move,
of
guys.
I know. All right. So here's the thing about anchovies. You could chop them up before you use them, but if you're putting them in a sauce, they will actually just melt in the sauce, by the way. If I can get a second one out of here. I know Robbie's like, I probably don't need that, Dana, but yes, you do. You do. You need it. Come on.
Anything fishy is good for you.
It's good for you, and this just has so much flavor. So it's kind of like adding miso or soy sauce or Worcestershire sauce, something that add mushrooms, something that adds all that umami flavor in there. Okay, that's too many. We don't need that much. We want the umami without it tasting fishy. So I'll stick that in there and somehow, hang on. Turn that down. All right. Now I'm gonna grate some cheese here.
Claire, we just gave her the most difficult cooking challenge stream ever.
I've Say what?
I told Flair, I'm like, we just gave her the most difficult cooking stream challenge ever.
And yeah, because you do your different challenges. This is your new one. You're only
My
have
new one.
you have a limited space that you can go now.
I know. All right. So I'm using to put in the inside of the meatballs. Actually, we're going to need to do two different things here. Oh, we have Pecorino Romano on the counter. I'm going to use both Parmesan and Pecorino Romano, and I'll tell you why. Because Parmesan. So I don't know. Do you guys know the difference between Parmesan and Pecorino
No, but I know
Romano?
I combine them very often in Italian food.
Yeah. So Parmesan is a milk cheese. I mean, not milk cheese, a cow cheese.
Right.
We're both milk cheeses, Dana. And then Pecorino Romano is made from sheep milk. So
Gotcha.
that's the difference. And Parmesan has a much nuttier kind of flavor to it, whereas Pecorino Romano has a more kind of grassy, earthy flavor to it. So if you're in Italy and they're making like a carbonara or a matriciana, they're going to be using Pecorino Romano usually. So I usually have Robbie grade stuff. So I may not be quite as fast as he is. I don't think I complain as much as he does.
Honestly, he's just relaxing right now. He's just watching the magic.
Wait,
I
does he
mean,
have a drink?
he does not have a drink, but I'm going to have him make me one soon. I don't know if he'll have a drink or not. Since I'm going to have him make me a martini, and he doesn't really drink martinis.
He
How
said,
do you drink your martinis?
He said, I took the night off from grading.
I know. I need him over here, though. I need so much cheese. So what we're going to do, because, in a words, chicken Parmesan, that we usually have that coating on it. So this part's going to be our coating. And I'm going to put some more breadcrumbs in there. So once we make the meatballs, we're going to roll them in that before we cook them. And they'll have to go in the oven. So we may start the interview and pull them out in the middle of the interview. Once we get that part done.
That's fine with me.
Or you can ask me questions while I'm here. I don't mind. I can do 8 things at once. Maybe.
Multitasking at its finest.
I mean, that is essentially what streaming is, isn't it? You got the tech
Right.
stuff. If you're playing a game, you got to play the game while checking in on chat and
Right.
answering questions.
So here's a question for you. This is a general cooking question. I cook in the
Okay.
kitchen almost every day. I know I do, and I know some of my family members do. Do you have favorite utensils that you use while cooking? Like, do you
Oh,
have a favorite
absolutely.
spatula? Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll be like, oh, it's not in there. Now I got to use one of these subpar spatulas. Absolutely. My favorite wooden spoon isn't here. Subpar wooden spoon.
Right. I get very disappointed, or I'll purposely go find that spoon and like clean it so
Yeah.
I can use it.
I'm very lucky in that if Robbie does the dishes, and he does the dishes more often than I do, since our stream has gotten a little more complicated, I now do at least some of them. But at the beginning, he did all of them. He washes everything completely clean before it goes in the dishwasher. So if I'm going in the dishwasher looking for something to clean, I'm like, did Robbie clean this? Because it's probably already clean.
Right.
So
It's just that extra sanitizing step. It's fine.
yeah, it's fine. I'll just pull it out. Robbie even will do that. He'll go, I washed this. It's fine. You can use it.
He knows it's clean then, right?
He does. So he's been great. I mean, I wouldn't be streaming if he weren't here doing this. What's funny though is that my first major in college was radio, TV, film. So I actually worked in the television and radio business, and so I understand a lot about it. But the technology has changed because I'm old. So I graduated from college
What?
with that
Oh
degree in
no!
1990. So if you can imagine, technology now is way different than it was in 1990. I can edit faster on my phone and better on my phone than I could with state-of-the-art equipment back in 1990. So it's a whole different world.
It really is.
Just so everyone knows, the noise for the ads coming in 3 minutes is coming. So in 3 minutes, for those of you who are not subscribers in the channel, you'll be facing some ads for about 3-ish minutes. For those of you who go into the commercial stream or the commercial part of the stream, let us know when you get back. This is also your opportunity to sub if you feel inclined to. If not, there's this thing called Twitch Turbo, where if you subscribe to Twitch Turbo, you don't get ads for any of your streamers for an entire month that you watch. Or if you have a Prime sub, you can also do that. But if not, like I said, let us know when you get back so we know to keep the conversation going.
Oh yeah.
But you will hear the noise. You will hear the noise. Trust me, you will know the noise when you hear it.
Oh no.
No, that one's already happened. It's the what didn't I tell you? Cause I told you that one.
We are ad friendly people here, friends. Just as another reminder, if you don't want to sit through the ads, pretend like it's the 90s. Like, go run and try to beat the stream before you come back. Go to the bathroom, get a drink, get a snack, get something. See if you can beat the clock.
Have a cocktail.
Have a cocktail.
Make yourself a cocktail. Yes, get a snack. I always tell Robbie that all the time when he's like, "Oh, it's another ad watching television," and I'm like, "Yes, my entire life was that until
Right?
recently." All right. So let's get our stuff mixed up here. I'm going to kind of flip it around because I didn't mix it up ahead of time.
I cannot do that with my hands. I made chicken nuggets from ground chicken in the air fryer the other day, and the
Yeah.
texture on my hands, I was like, I have to buy gloves from when I do this from now on.
I do have gloves for people who want them, but I mean, I grew up helping my mom with stuff like this and
Right?
meatloaf, and so I think that makes a difference that if you do that, because my kids, I don't think mind too much.
Gonna say it
All
just
right.
depends on what I'm making. Like I've done pie crusts and doughs and stuff like that, but I think it's when it starts like conglomerating on my fingers that I'm like, I need to wash my hands.
Yeah. Well, meat is one thing, and now that I have these headphones on, let's see. How good can I be here? Taking those off.
We need to make point redeem. Or gold stars. Can we start? I just want to give like gold stars on your stream to people when
All
they
right.
like, overcome a challenge.
Washing hands, because we got to do that. And I'm back. So I just need to mash this up a little more, the sauce. But I don't mind it if it's a little chunky. That tells me I'm using stuff right. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, oh, my scale. Where did I put my scale? This is what it's like in the kitchen with me a lot of times. It's Dana looking for stuff. There it is. Hang on.
That's me in the kitchen like every day of my life, guys. I always lose a spoon or the salt.
I do like to measure the meatballs only because if you're trying to cook them and they're different sizes, they're going to cook at different lengths. So you'll get either overcooked or undercooked or both. So if I'm making meatballs, I almost always measure unless I'm in a real hurry. And I don't care if people eat undercooked meatballs. Just kidding.
I was gonna say, not with the chicken, right?
Not with chicken. All right. So you can make these smaller. I'm making mine 1.5 ounces here. But if you're doing them as like appetizers or whatever, you can feel free to make them like an ounce. I'm doing it this way, it's a little faster. But you'll get a nice, if they're smaller, you get more coating on them. And I'm more of a crunchy person. Are you guys crunchy? Do you like crunchy food or are you more like, nah?
No, I have to have a crunch, definitely. Except for
Yeah.
the weirdest thing is peanut butter. Peanut butter I have to have creamy. But
Creamy peanut butter.
if I eat a PB&J, I would like it toasted. Like I would like my bread toasted, and then I
Yes,
do the peanut butter and jelly.
absolutely.
Honestly, for me, it honestly depends on the food, but sometimes if I'm eating something and it crunches in my mouth, I'm like, was that supposed to crunch?
No, if your food's supposed to be crunchy, right?
Like salad crunchy, sandwich most of the time crunchy, depending on what kind you eat.
Have that bread, crunch that bread up, toast it. I'm all about that.
Yeah, we love any kind of crunchy bread in my house. We don't just do plain sandwiches here. It doesn't go well.
I always have to remember Robbie does not like crunchy. Like
I
he would
told
prefer if
you.
you
What
don't
did I tell
toast
you? Didn't I tell you?
his
'Cause I
bread.
told you. And when did I tell you? A
We're
long
always
time ago.
One of
And
my
what did
kids
I
is
say
very
what happened
lightly
when I
toasted.
told you?
One is
Exactly
like
what just
she doesn't care
happened.
if it's almost burnt. And then like I'm right in the middle.
All right,
Are you
ads are going.
what?
The ads are
The
going,
ads are going.
Oh,
and I'll know when it's done when it goes ta-da.
ta-da!
You got about a
Um,
minute and a half left. I have mod view on. I see when your ads end.
Yep. That's the
All
one.
right.
It's the one good thing while I'm gaming too, so I know when things are happening. Because otherwise, I'd be completely oblivious and not know when ads are happening.
Yeah, I get that. Hey, Robbie, while the ads are going, would you do me a favor and put some oil in here and get this turned on for me?
I'm gonna have to do your oil, like the herb oil.
It's so smart.
So what was it? My mother and my grandmother um, were down visiting my aunt in southern Texas, and they brought me back a garlic infused olive oil, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
very excited to try. But as soon as that is gone, I have the
Sure.
right bottle, so I will be doing the
No.
herb infused
Use
oil.
that one there.
It sounds something
It's
right up my alley.
yeah, you could use whatever you want. Garlic is probably the most used one. I do have something called a levo where you can make the stuff, and so it will dry the herbs and then infuse the oils or butter in it. But honestly, I'm only going to pull that out if I'm doing multiple things. If I'm just doing one, I'll just do it on the stove in a small pot. There's no reason that you have to go buy a $200 machine for it.
Right. So I
It
guess
was a gift.
the fun question would be when it comes to garlic
Ads are
in that
back
oil.
off.
Awesome. Welcome back, guys. When it comes to the oil itself, when you put garlic in, do you put cloves or do you put
Yes.
granulated?
No, but I would use cloves and then smash them
Right.
because that'll release the oils and the
Bread, it'll be
enzymes in
more
it.
pungent and
Yeah.
you'll be able to taste the garlic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So get those cloves, smash them, and then stick them in the oil. So yeah. And same thing, if you're ever braising anything, you
Mm-hmm.
don't need to cut up your garlic or anything. You can just smash that garlic, stick it in there. So,
Aggressive with garlic. I love it.
yeah. Because, it's hard to get that garlic smell off of your hands.
It really is though.
So,
Andy says, gonna have to go for now. Good luck with the rest of the stream, Dana, with a heart.
all right. Thanks, Andy. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes, thank you for
Um,
coming in.
all right. We're getting there. We're getting there. And Robbie's got that on. So as soon as the oil heats up, I'll start cooking the meatballs. Even if I'm still making them. I probably should have grated the cheese ahead of time. That just takes time. And I'm used to the one thing about those food and drink streams is you just take however long you need to for the stream to
Right.
cook the food. But I can tell the difference between like an hour and a half stream and a 3-hour stream because I'm standing on my feet the whole time.
Right. And on that 3-hour stream, you can take like breaks and sit down and be vocal with your channel and all of that.
Except I'm not. I'm always just cooking. So
I would say, and then you have, and then like for like most of the time I'm playing games and stuff like that. I'll be playing games and look up and be like, oh, it's been 2 hours, guys. I think I should wrap up.
Oh, no. While we're here, let's just talk about this. Sir, you were in a 9-hour stream on Saturday.
Yeah.
holy cow.
Well, I was determined to get levels and do what I needed to do.
Oh, that ended, didn't it?
Yes. Well, wait,
Oh.
wait. You mean the season?
Yeah.
No. You still
Okay,
got. You
we
still
need to
got.
play
You,
after
you,
this.
you still got a couple weeks. But okay. But listen. You need to blame Brother Darkness for me playing games for that long because. Oh,
9 hours is excessive, buddy.
listen. I have, to my detriment, and I actually didn't technically do 24 hours because I took a nap and I had a movie playing for 2 of the hours. But I did a 24-hour stream technically.
That's insane.
It was, yeah, I am now, and also from being at TwitchCon and hearing from the panels and stuff like that, 24-hour streams are not the best. Like, honestly, you have people who will try to stick around and stuff like that, and, you know, for that type of thing, but, like, your audience will probably stick around 4, 5, maybe 6 if it's a special event type of thing, but after that, like, people are like, I got things I gotta do.
Well,
I mean, it's tough to keep people around that long.
Yeah.
I haven't ever tried.
I,
What's our
done
longest one been? 6 hours? 5 hours?
Yeah.
5, 6 hours? Because I was prepping foods for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I did a 6-hour Sea of Thieves stream. But it was on the Xbox. There was no camera. Like, I was literally in PJs. I looked like a bum, and I had a good time. And people were just like coming in and out of like my Xbox chat and like coming in and playing and then leaving. So it was absolutely fine.
And I would say normally for anniversary streams, I'll do like 5 or 6 hours of things and stuff like that. But like, after the one time I did it, I went, yeah, I'm not doing this again. This was a lot. And it was also really taxing on you because you basically feel like you need to sleep for the entire day after it.
Yeah. You got to have the time to do it. That's for sure.
I think there was a day when my oldest, who was nearly 15, decided she wanted to play Fortnite with Claire and I. And she played for all of like 20, 30 minutes, maybe a couple rounds. She comes in after, she looks at me and she goes, I don't know how you do this all the time. This is exhausting. Like, yeah, it really is.
Stamina, baby, stamina.
Yeah, you just gotta work for it if you want it.
I know that if I play from my past, like if I play video games, it's really hard for me to tear myself away from them if I'm really enjoying it. So, you know, once my kids, they think I don't get it, but I do.
I would say now I have a bonus question. Dana, what games do you play?
I don't really play too much now. I saw in your opening that you play Fall Guys.
Yes.
I'm really good at Fall Guys. I fall a lot. That's the purpose, right?
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah. So when we play, a lot of times if we get a certain thing, I'm just like, I hand it to Robbie, and I'm like, I can't get past this level. Could you do it? Which is funny because my kids used to do that for me with Kirby and Pokemon games, and they'd be like, Mom, I can't get past this level.
My youngest was really big into Pokemon when it came out for the Switch. And she'd look at me and be like, Mom, can you get me past this level? And I just kind of look at her and I'm like, listen, child. I made it through Pokemon Color. I made it through Yellow. I made it through Red. I made it through Gold, Silver, Crystal. You're going to do this by yourself. If I could beat 5 Pokemon games with minimal technology, you can beat this one.
My boyfriend laughs at me though because we'll play most of the time when it's a game where it has multiple versions where it's like Silver and like Soul Silver and what I forget what the other one was, but basically if there's like if there's two different versions of the same game, basically, we'll get it. And he always, actually, let me say that. He normally beats me at getting through the entire game because I struggle on some points and stuff like that because I'm so stubborn on what my team's gonna be. And like,
Oh,
and I'm like, I'm gonna make this work, and he'll beat it or whatever. But the last, what was it? What was the latest Pokemon one?
Uh,
what was that
not
called?
Sapphire.
No, it was the new one that had Violet. Was it Violet?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, those ones. I, with pride, beat him to completing the entire game, and I was like, "See, I can do it too." I didn't play it on stream. This was completely just us playing it against each other like offline.
Yeah.
Which is also hilarious because him and I will play games and stuff like that. But he has indicated to me because I've been like, "Oh, you'd be a great streamer." Da da da. He refuses to ever be a Twitch streamer or do anything like that. He's like, "Nobody will want to listen." Blah 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 blah. Like, but like I'm like, you have one of the like most unique like personalities that like you would have some of the like the people who like can't find their like crowd or stuff like that, they would gravitate towards him because that's how he is. He's one of those like he'll be there but he feels like an outsider type of view.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just interesting, but
Hey, look, if people watch me, people will watch anybody.
Say my other half does stream. He's gone through this more of like a fall through. I just tell him like you gotta promote and you gotta network, like you gotta do all the things. And I was like, sometimes streaming can literally be a full-time job. Just
Yes.
doing the clips, doing your promos, networking with other gamers, like trying to make them like a whole community. I was like, you have to like this and that, and he was just like, that's a lot of work. I'm like, I know.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but it's worth it when it pays off because you didn't have like this amazing community with amazing people, and you get to do fun things like we're doing today.
You ultimately can't grow if you don't try to find other people to hang out with, do things with, stuff like that. There's no chance of growth if you don't expand your
I agree.
audience and talk to other people who are doing the same thing as you.
I agree. I need. Can you get me one of those baking sheets over there?
Put the cooked
I need to
meatballs
start
somewhere.
pulling-
I want to say they look
Yep.
great.
They're getting there. All right. Some of these need to probably
Like
come
the
off.
amount of multitasking, man.
Well, and you know what's interesting about food and drink streams is that there's a lot of work that has to go in beforehand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, if we're doing games there's not a plan for it, but we have to menu plan, and then we have to grocery shop, and then we've got to set up the kitchen, and then we've got to clean the kitchen afterwards. That's good for now. You want to just set it? You set it there. I can.
So I guess this leads me to a question for people who may be considering at some point doing cooking streams like you, Dana. What is your biggest advice that you would give somebody who is considering doing it?
Just do it. I mean, get on there. The worst that's going to happen is nobody watches your first one. What can happen is you have a lot of people in there watching your first one when you don't know what you're doing. I mean, I was just encouraged, and I watched a couple of people before I got on to see how they were doing their cooking streams, but I didn't want to overthink it because I am an overthinker. So I was just like, let's not overthink this. Let's just do it, and I'll find my own way, and then I can watch other people and go, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Did that answer the question?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess another additional one that I have is who has been some of your like greatest inspiration from people on Twitch that kind of inspired you to do what you're doing now?
Let's see. Kanara is great. I've learned a lot from her, and actually have met, and she's cooked in my kitchen, so we've cooked together and everything. Darth, who, boy, we're getting a lot of smoke. I hope I don't set up the smoke detectors here.
And if you do, if you do, I will laugh because there's been a streamer that I watched before who doesn't do a lot of cooking streams. Who the one time that I went in when she was doing it, the smoke alarms went off, and she's like waving the towel and trying to make it go away, calling her mom, being like, "It won't stop. What do I do?"
Yeah, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna get a little more oil in here. My smoke detector isn't in my kitchen, so I wouldn't be able to do that. It's upstairs. They're
Yeah.
upstairs and in the hallway down there, so that would be a whole nother problem. All
Mhm.
right, hang on. I gotta go wash my hands
Okay.
so that I don't get more stuff everywhere. So hang on.
It's
Wow, in here.
the taking the headphones off without actually touching them
Yeah.
that I freaking love.
Let me do my reindeer ears.
With my new hands. I love it. Such a vibe.
Yeah.
So the other thing I want to talk about too with the cheese, when it comes to cheese, is don't buy the pre-grated stuff unless, again, you have to, because it's got things in it that prevent it from melting, keep it from sticking together. And so if you're wondering why at the restaurant do things seem to melt much better than at home, that may be the reason why. And I need to turn this down because it's way too hot.
There's a cheese grater that I want off of. It's like a cheese grater that suction cups to your counter that I found on Amazon, and I'm like, that is goal for me at this point because we go through so much cheese in my house because my kiddos are like taco bowl and quesadilla lovers.
Oh,
and I'm so
they're my
tired of,
kind of people.
oh my gosh, even refried beans. If I make like taquitos, enchiladas, quesadillas, tacos, they want refried beans with it. And they always want like the cheese on top so it's melty and gooey with
Yeah.
sauce. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Absolutely.
my kids know the right way. I taught them well.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so you want to that's all I'm saying is like, especially if you're using Parmesan cheese, if you get the stuff that's already grated in a shaker bottle, it ain't going to melt at all.
Oh no. It's just like clumps of
Yeah. It's clumps
weird
of
parm.
something that resembles some sort of fake cheese.
Also, when you're making Alfredo, get like the actual block Parmesan because even the bag like shredded parm does not melt correctly.
No. It won't because it's got like the cellulose in there to keep it from melting in the bag because we wouldn't
all
want a
those
big
additives.
clump. I know.
The worst.
And we have this great place here in Dallas called Jimmy's, and it's downtown. It's not close, so I have to actually make it a thing. And
You
they
have to go on those horrible highways. I'm sorry.
I don't mind. I know back ways. I don't really mind. I just make it a day for me. And you go down this hole in the wall, but everything they have there is from Italy. All of
that's
their
awesome.
cheeses, their meats, their pastas, and it's so good. And you can get a pound of Parmesan in the block for $9.99.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
$9.99.
I know that
So
my aunt and my uncle live down in Texas. They live like New Braunfels, San Antonio area.
Yep, love it down there.
I absolutely love it down there. When I go down there, I haven't been down there for a while. I used to go like in high school, like every spring break, every summer break, I'd go down there. And my uncle would always find these like really good hole in the wall places for me to eat because he knew that I loved tacos and he knew I loved my Mexican food. And he'd take me to these hole in the wall, like mom and pop Mexican restaurants where nobody spoke English in that place except me. Like my uncle is from southern Texas and he speaks perfect English. Like he came up here a couple years ago and he walked into one of our little Mexican like grocery stores and started talking to the people and they're like, "Where did this tall, pale, crazy white boy come from and why is he talking to me in perfect Spanish?"
Yeah. Well, next time you're down in that area, that's it's like a 4-hour drive.
I know, we actually the route
I
that we
don't think I
take
need that.
because my family drives down. There is no flying. It's a 23-hour drive to New Braunfels
Yeah.
from where I live. And we do the trek in like 2 days, which is fine. But we always go through town.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
mean, even
my
if you're
least
down there.
place.
Is it really? There's some
Driving
good stuff
wise
here.
because of the traffic and how much anxiety it gives me when we reach there. Because we normally reach there because we're either in like Little Rock or Texarkana when we're taking off for day 2 to finish the trek. And it's always like right around lunchtime
Yeah.
that we get there, and it's horrible.
I get that. I get that. Austin, I think, is worse.
Oh,
Austin is
really? I don't know
the
if I could do
worst.
like any kind of driving around Austin.
Yeah, and Houston is
Avoid.
bad too. But
Yeah.
I used to live in Chicago, so
Hmm.
and St. Louis and Detroit. So like I'm like traffic. It is what
It's a common
it
thing.
is.
Chicago traffic is
So
terrifying. I was up there in January. We took my kids to a concert, my dad and I did. And just driving up there, it's like 3 hours from my house, so it's not bad, but it's actually well, no, it's less than that. I think it was a 2-hour drive, but still. It's I look at my dad, I'm like, "You're driving when we go because I can't handle it. I have too much driving anxiety."
if you know that, you know it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just got used to driving in traffic, but honestly, in Chicago, you can get most of the bad traffic places without having to get on the highway because you can get on public transportation, which, Texas doesn't really believe in.
No, they don't. I know that for a fact. And all your parking spaces are like significantly bigger, which I love.
Well, we got all the trucks,
I
so
know. I was like, can we just get parking spaces in the Midwest that are like the Texas ones? Because
be
nobody knows how to
nice.
park here.
Yeah.
No one.
For me, when the driving gets really bad here, it's when it gets icy because there's still people here that think you can drive on ice.
Which is
And I'm
hilarious.
and I'm like, you can't drive on ice. You can drive on snow, but you cannot drive on ice.
Oh, you can't.
You can skid on ice. You can let the ice be in control of where you're going to go. But
Well, and you guys, from my understanding, because so my grandma's a snowbird, so she spends like winters down in New Braunfels and stuff like that.
yeah,
You guys are getting more snow than what you used to.
yeah. Although I don't even, did we even get snow this year? Like maybe a quarter an inch or something. So we don't, at least, again, I live in the Bermuda Triangle, so maybe
Right.
other places got more snow, but yeah, I haven't seen a lot here. And
I
I
was gonna.
actually grew up, I'm from St. Louis, but
Hmm.
I grew up in Houston until high school, moved back to St. Louis because the company my dad worked for, which was Anheuser-Busch, had said, "Oh yeah, we told you were only going to Houston temporarily." So 13 years later, they moved us back to St.
I
Louis.
love how that was temporary.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna do the next step here. But yeah, so we never. I think we had snow in the 13 years. There's probably snow 2 times down there. All right. So we've got these. I'm gonna turn this off. These meatballs are not cooked all the way through. Okay. That was not the purpose there. The purpose there was to get the outside nice and crunchy so that we can stick all of these babies in here
They could
in our
start soaking up
sauce.
that sauce.
Yeah. But we still want some crunch on it, so we want some of it peeking out of the top. And we're going to put a bunch of cheese on this and stick it in the oven. And the oven is going at 400. That's what I've got it at. If you are ever cooking meatballs or anything that you want to get brown on your stove, you want to make sure you don't crowd like this, which is why I did it in a lot of different batches. Otherwise, you start steaming your food rather than getting that nice crunch on it. Okay, where is my cheese? Is it in here? Can I reach it from here? I can. Okay. And we'll get that in the oven and then I'll make a cocktail and we'll sit down and we'll chat if you want while
Oh yeah.
that cooks up. And I gotta start pasta. Robbie wanted some pasta with this.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. So give me a second. I'm gonna take these off and do
Flip. Do all the
this.
switcheroo stuff.
Do all the stuff. All right. I'll be back in a second.
All right. All right, folks who are in here, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. I know Dana appreciates you, especially if you're a loyal follower who's come in just to see Flair. Um, if you're not following Flair, I highly recommend you do. Not only is he a great friend, but I'm also a mod. He's talented. We've got a lineup of people coming this season, and it should be fantastic. So drop a follow if you haven't.
Yeah, we have UK actor and singer. We have a author that's coming. We have a Broadway performer. We have drag queens. We have people who do cosplay. We got the whole gambit at this point when it comes to people you would ever be considering watching for to know like basically how they live their lives and things like that. So if you don't know, if you're not keeping track of the Golden Show, think about it. That's all I'm saying. Just
Definitely think about it. I feel like our summer series should be a summer UK series because that's all we're featuring.
Well, until August, and then we get Broadway.
Right. And then we get Broadway. It's going to be such a fun time, you guys. You have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
We're so excited.
Right here.
We even started prepping season 2 at this point. Like, why not do all the things and be badasses?
We're trying to get as many different types of streamers and performers and things like that as possible to help you all get a broader audience of an understanding of what people who do extraordinary things do on a regular basis.
It's a great reach out as well, and some of our friends are even community based. They do local charities and stuff like that, so it's always good to hear about local things that you could potentially help out in.
Yes. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Sort
Oh.
of. Yes.
All right. Well, then we'll go ahead and start the interview portion of this while things are baking. So Dana, what inspired you to join Twitch and become a content creator?
So during the pandemic, I started cooking a lot more, and I really wanted to share the cooking that I was doing. And it was the pandemic, so you wanted something to do. But I was in the middle of grad school as well, and so I waited until the end of the semester. But I had said to my daughter, who has a YouTube channel, I was like, I want to maybe make some content for YouTube. And she said, I think you should stream instead on Twitch. And I was familiar with Twitch, but I didn't really watch Twitch, and I didn't know much about it. Robbie's going to fix the camera here so I don't look like I'm sideways there. Thank you, honey. It's nice to have a camera guy, tech guy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Who can do all the things for you. Then that was confirmed. My son said the same thing. Said, "Yeah, I think you'd be a pretty good streamer." And both of them had streamed, so yeah. And then Robbie started watching some of the cooking stuff, and he said, "Yeah, you could do that." So I just said one day I practiced with my daughter on Zoom. We did a pretend one, and then like 2 weeks later, I did my first stream, which was 60 minutes long. My first one. I was like, I gotta get it done in 60 minutes, and now I'm just like, whatever.
How long it takes, right?
You're like, I'll get there when I get there.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference is, right, radio, TV, film major. So when we were filming stuff, it had to be, we'd have our run sheet, and we needed to be done by a certain time. And then I realized, oh yeah, that's not streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I just do whatever.
Streaming, you go with the flow.
Just go with it. Yep. Yep. And ooh, look what I have.
Ooh.
All right.
That is a Flair kind of cocktail. If
There we
ever been
go.
a Flair kind of cocktail.
I would say, Dana, you're making me think about going into the other room to make an actual cocktail after this Smirnoff. I'm moving things around
So-
because I'm changing around how the view is because it looks better like this, so we can see all three of us.
All right.
Um,
All right.
The next question, which was one that Harley had mentioned during our discussion of this, is when did you actually start cooking?
So, I mean, the kitchen was really the heart of the home for my mom and my grandmother, on her mom. On there, I actually have a picture of the two of them hanging up in the kitchen over here to remind me of that. So I'd always been helping in the kitchen from a young age, including, and it might have just been, oh yeah, you can pour this cup of sugar in or whatever it is. I have pictures of me stirring eggnog up and pouring stuff into eggnog, and pictures of the cake that I decimated by putting my hand in the middle of and eating a handful of cake. But yeah, so there were always, as long as I remember, it was just always a part of, we were always in the kitchen. Like that's where we hung out in every
Like-
house we ever had.
The heart of most families takes place
Yeah.
in the kitchen.
Yeah. So as
Um,
long as I remember.
And then, do you have a specific cooking memory with your family that you recall that's kind of in the back of your head that you think about every once in a while?
If I were to really think about cooking with my family, I don't have any specific like, oh, this one time was great. I have lots of groups of like, we always made eggnog together as either a family or my parents had like a gazillion friends over, and we made eggnog in the buckets from like Home Depot and stuff,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
or in coolers. That's how much we like our eggnog. You should check it out this December because we make it every year. Hopefully I don't. One year I've halved the recipe, except I forgot to half the alcohol, so that was
Oh
eggnog.
my lord! Oh,
Like moonshine
Some-
eggnog.
I'd already poured it all in, and somebody goes, "Hey, did you half the alcohol?" And I was like, "I did not." So
spicy eggnog.
it was a very cheery Christmas that year.
Holly Jolly were used in the Holly and Jolly
Yes.
were used in that Christmas tradition, guys.
Who needs all that egg and whipped cream? Let's just drink the brandy and whiskey.
I'll be fine.
So that's how my memories are. Like I have memories of cooking in the kitchen and being with my family, but it's more feelings than it is like a specific, hey, this thing, like remembering chopping stuff up when my mom was making things and she'd go chop this onion, chop this, chop that. I mean, it happened all the time, but I love all of them. I think, I'll tell you which one I remember the most. My mom was actually out of town, and I was about 6, which made my brother about 4. And my dad was a really good griller. He could grill anything. So he's trying to make dinner for a 6 and a 4-year-old, and I don't remember what he grilled, but whatever it was, I'm sure it was fabulous. But he burnt the frozen peas. So, yeah. So that's a real specific memory that he never lived down. Ever in his entire life. Whenever we would have peas, everybody would go, remember the time, my brother and I would go, remember the time Dad burnt the frozen peas? He'd be like, that's enough. And we're like, not really. 40 years later, we're still like, remember that time?
That's
All
like
right, I got to put some pasta in the water here.
okay. That's like me with my mother because she cannot cook to save her life. Actually, let me rephrase that. She has one meal that she can actually make. And then that's the extent of it. The woman, I kid you not, could burn water. I
mean, basically that's what my dad did.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. I would say I say she could burn water. It there were flames coming from the water that she was trying to boil.
Knowing your mom now, that's like even more hilarious.
Yes.
Oh
I
my
believe
God.
it.
I don't even know. I have so many good memories in the kitchen. Like my grandpa and my grandma and my great grandma. Like Those are some of my fondest memories. I do have some with my mom. Now, my mom, she bakes. She bakes her heart out. That woman can bake.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was a kid, when I tell you I ate, like, oh my gosh, I ate a lot of things with cream of mushroom soup, and now I, like, dread cream of mushroom soup, and I love mushrooms. I can't do pork steaks. I can't do baked steak. I can't do anything with cream of mushroom just because it's so bland now, and I ate it so much as a kid. Like, never again, man. If I mix cream of mushroom with anything, it's like with cream of chicken to make like a casserole or something because I need the
Yeah.
extra flavor. My poor mom does not know how to cook. And I was having my dad put in a new sink faucet in my kitchen today, and I was like, I owe you a dinner. Like, I'll make you a dinner. And my mom comes up and she pipes up. She goes, "Why don't you make me dinner?" I'm like, let's be clear here. One, I've made you years worth of dinners. I was like, two, 90% of the time you tell me you hate my cooking when everybody else in my house and your husband eat it. Nobody else complains but you. She goes, "You have so many seasonings." I was like,
I was gonna say you may have
"You
too
have
much
to
too
cook
flavor.
with it.
Yeah,
You have
Yeah.
to cook with seasonings." I swear.
yeah. So it's too much flavor for her.
Can't do it. My grandma eats jalapenos like they're candy, guys. Like, I have to give seasonings in my food. I can't eat bland food. It's not worth eating if it's bland. I'm
Yeah.
sick if it's bland.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next one we have here is Dana. Who do you consider to be some of your key supporters?
I mean, obviously, my key supporters are my daughter and her boyfriend. They come into the stream often just to hang out and go, yay, you know. And Robbie, like I said, I couldn't do this without Robbie. And Robbie comes up with, he'll surprise me with stuff like the song for the, not the intro to the stream, but the hey streaming soon music. He just and sometimes he'll be like, oh, look at all these emotes I made. So I don't have to worry about any of that because he just like I'll occasionally go, I really need a martini, you know, emote, and he'll be like, all right. And then, you know, usually within a couple of days it's done. So he's really great.
Please hold for a
my son-
second. There's always time for a cocktail. There's my emote.
Nice. I like it. I like it. So I would say that, and I would also say that Robbie's family, especially when I first started, they were in the stream from the beginning to the end. But there's so many people in the community that I could thank because so many of them have been helpful figuring out what I'm going to make next time to tech stuff, to everything. There've just been so many people that I couldn't even mention them all. That I wouldn't do this if it weren't for all of them.
Let's see. What do you consider to be your greatest accomplishment on being on Twitch so far?
So the fact that I just think that people watching me is a great accomplishment. I was actually pretty fortunate. My daughter's ex-husband now, but he was a big Twitch streamer, and he would talk about on his stream. He would talk about my cooking. So the first time I went on, I actually had a lot more people than I thought I would because they wanted to come see who was cooking all this food he was talking about on there. But at the same time, that only gets you so far, right? So over time, to have so many people like come in and hang out from all over the world, and then to end up with that, like being over 1,000 people following you, like that, to me, that was like a huge thing going, I know they're not all watching, right? But 1,000 people took the time to push the button to follow, you know? And that's, to me, that's pretty
something major.
Pretty cool. Like, you know, I'm 55, so here I am on Twitch. I don't even fit into the old timers category because that's people from like 30 to 42. You know, like I'm like a geezer. or an ancient person. So
Oh my god, Flair, I'm an old timer. Why didn't you tell me?
we went to a TwitchCon. We went to a thing that was called the Old Timers, and I thought, oh, it'll be people like around my age, and I can get some hints. No, they were in their 30s, and I think what 1 or 2 people were in their early 40s. No, they were all in their 30s. They were all in their 30s.
Shocked.
I swear, I don't know what it is about people with when it comes to like technology and like streaming and stuff like that. People think who are literally like Harley's age and things like that, they feel like they're old, and I'm like, you don't even know. You barely have just gotten even started. And
But
then,
that's
Only
the way
like
it
a
goes.
year behind you, okay? I'm
But-
only 1 year.
but then you have like 65 to like 70-year-old people like that are playing like video games and cooking
Yeah.
and doing all this stuff, and like they're streaming, and I'm like, I don't even want to hear like 35 to 40-year-old people be like, I'm old. Like,
But this is the way it is in the industry. So
Yeah.
my daughter was a co-director of the Video Game History Foundation. She owns video game stores. She's been to the Game Developers conference like multiple times, and she said that's what happened. Because I was laughing about it and told her about it. She goes, that's actually a problem. She goes, because they had old timers 30 to 40s, and she's like, the 40 to 50-year-olds were like, well, then what does that make us? I guess that makes us geezers. And then the people who are over 50 were like, well, wait a minute, what does that make us? I guess that makes us ancient. So she goes, it's actually kind of in the video game industry. And since Twitch started as a video game thing, I guess that's why they kind of put us in those categories. But I'm like, I don't feel ancient, but I guess I am. I don't know.
It's so crazy to think that like my generation is like the quote unquote old people now.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm sorry, I was there. I had a Nintendo when it first came out, and there was Duck Hunter and the gun. Like, I had that. I had Game Boy Color. Like, I get that I'm old, but this is fairly new.
I had kids when I got the original Game Boy that was black and white and only played like Tetris. So
we had the Atari when I was growing up.
I did
I had
too.
an
Well, my
Atari
brother
too
did.
with Pac-Man.
Doing a dreams.
Or even the little
Yeah.
the little joysticks that had
Pong.
the different games
We
and
had
stuff on
Pong.
Yes.
it. Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat, man. I remember my mom would take me to Buffalo Wild Wings because it was a really big thing in like the 90s when I was growing up. Beat Ups was like massive. They had a video game center in there. So they would just leave me there at like 7 or 8 and give me like stacks of quarters and just tell me to
Oh
go
my
play
gosh.
Mortal Kombat.
I used to sneak out of my house. I could say this now because my parents aren't allowed to hear this. But I used to sneak out my window when I was in middle school. And my friend and I would walk the mile to the video game arcade so we could play like Frogger
Mm-hmm.
and Centipede and Pac-Man at like 10 o'clock at night. Now, if my kids did that when they were like 12, I would have strangled them.
That-
But I used to do it all the time.
I was gonna say if I even remotely thought about like leaving through my window to go somewhere, there would have been hell to pay. But also,
I mean, I had it all figured out.
but also,
I had it all figured out.
yeah,
There was my room, there was the guest room, and then there was the primary bedroom, and the air conditioning units were in between, and I was in Houston, so the air conditioning is running all the time. So I'd wait till the air conditioner went on, and then I'd sneak out the window, and I'd wait until the air conditioning went on to sneak back in, because I was like, that's enough noise to keep them asleep.
I would say the other thing too, though, is that like I feared because I liked video games so much growing up as a kid. I'd feared that like because my mom's punishment for me knowing that would be like you can't play your video games for X amount of like days or whatever. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a good kid so I can play games when I want, because if I make her mad, then I can't play video games and I'll be very angry.
Like, my mom was always like the parent that said that I never needed video games because they were like a waste of time and like a waste of my brain power, and I could be doing so much more with my time. So I didn't actually, I had like a PC when I was younger, And the first time I had an actual game that wasn't an educational game was Sims 1. Like the very first Sims game was my first non-educational game. But she was like, "Well, it's teaching you money." So I didn't actually get my first console until I graduated high school in 2009. That was
Wow.
when I had my first console. I had a PC and I was only allowed to play very minimal games. But it's just like I feel like I used to sneak over to friends' houses though to like play their Xbox or like play the PlayStation with them just so I could have that. I was a secret gamer and nobody knew until like after I graduated high school that
Yeah.
I gamed religiously.
I guess that's the fun question of what is everyone's or first game they ever played that you remember?
Pong.
Duck Hunter.
I think I
My-
play. I think I played both of those, but I think the most vivid one that I remember was the original Mario game.
Ah, yeah.
I just remember I think I was like 5 or 6 and my mom was at like a garage party with friends and I was the only kid there, so they let me go into the living room with like their big old black TV and Duck Hunter was like the Nintendo game that they had and I just
Mhm.
sat there for like hours and I played it and then when I was ready to go to sleep I watched Look Who's Talking with the talking babies from the 90s. That was John Travolta and Christy Alley.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That one I watched that. That was like my first experience with a game.
Yeah. Yeah. Little did your mom know that taking you to a garage party started something down the road.
It
Lifelong
really
thing.
did. It really did.
Yeah.
But that also started my so her garage parties that she used to go to were motorcycle chapter rallies, like motorcycle club meetings. So at some point we hit um a point where she was a member of Harley Davidson and she signed me up and I was one of the youngest members who ever signed up and got patches and pins from Harley Davidson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I still have them in my garage.
So that's where you got
That's
your
what's up.
name.
I didn't even think about that. Harley, because she
Have a
liked
double name.
Yep.
I liked it because of Harley Quinn.
Mhm.
Now it has a double meaning.
Yep.
Oh man, don't tell people. Flair figured out the
Don't tell
hidden meaning.
people. We're on Twitch streaming, but don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
It's fine, guys.
I mean,
Everything's fine.
I mean, to be completely honest, the origin story of my name was from WWE wrestling that I would watch when I was growing up, and it was a mixture of Ric Flair and Goldust.
Oh, wow.
Love it. I didn't even
That's
know that.
awesome.
Yeah,
Hey, DeBello.
that's literally where it came from. Hi, DeBello.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
My name came from my name and that I'm in a kitchen.
That's simplicity at its finest, and I absolutely love it.
But the thing though is that it has become its own thing with my name too. Is that like I'm a person who loves things that are very like flashy and like things that shine and things like that. So it's completely taking on its own meaning. But the origin was literally wrestling.
That's funny.
I love it. Now, how I got my name, Dana, is different because I was adopted. And so my parents thought that they were going to have to wait like a year after they've passed all the interview stuff. And so they weren't prepared when like a month later, and they were like, hey, we have a little girl for you, come over tomorrow. And they had nothing, right? And they had no name. And my dad kept throwing out names. He'd go, Jennifer. My mom's like, weren't you engaged to somebody named Jennifer before me? And so he kept pulling out these names that were names of ex-girlfriends and stuff. But he was shaving at the time. And my dad used Canoe Cologne at the time, which is by Dana. And so he goes, how about Dana? And my mom was like, I like it. And he's like, I was joking, but then it stuck. So that's my name.
You're stuck with it now. Hate to tell you.
I like it. I like it. So I mean, I love that that's my name. I love that it came from a cologne designer. So
That's pretty cool. Though.
I will personally.
even though,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I would say I personally will say that it seems to me, because you are not the first Dana that I've met, that there are a bunch of very like outstanding, like very like strong, like motivated women that are named Dana, and so like that name specifically, I'm like, if I'm like, I don't like kids. Harley can tell you I do not like kids. I will never have kids. But if it ever happened, it's like that's on the list of like names I would consider, because of the fact that I've met so many like amazing people named Dana.
Right, and it goes for male, female, non-binary. It works across the spectrum.
Right?
Yep.
It does. Because I've actually, in my job, I've met a couple gentlemen named Dana. And when I'm talking to like vendors or something about that particular patient, they're like, she. I'm like, no, 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 no.
That's a he.
He.
Yeah.
E.
Like,
Or
it's
Chris.
like
Chris.
it's like Chris Aaron. There's
Yeah.
like 7 different ways to do Aaron now.
Yep.
And Aaron could be male or female. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
No
Nick?
name actually really matters.
right?
No. No.
It's a bunch of symbols we put to represent who we are.
It's funny though,
So.
because like even at the age of 33, like I don't feel like my name it doesn't fit me. Like my legal name doesn't fit me. Even at work, I don't use my legal name. I use a nickname because I really don't like my first name. But I respect my parents, so I'll keep it. But
So you'll
that's
keep
why
it?
the internet knows me as a completely different name than my legal name. And Flair knows that.
Yeah. Mine. What's really funny though is my name wasn't my mom's first choice. My name came from. My mom had a friend who for the longest time was they were both having kids around the same time, and she was going to name me Jonathan, and that didn't end up happening because her friend had a kid and named her kid Jonathan. So mom was like, I'm not having the same name because we'd be around each other all the time, and so then she's like, I don't know. And then my biological dad wanted me to be named after him, so I was gonna be Louis II. And or Lewis
You
Jr.
think you should be a Lewis.
And I was not being, and mom was like, we ain't doing that. I hate to tell you, we are not naming our kid that. And so then they came up with my actual name, which I will say is Christian. And they both were like, yeah, it works. We'll go with that. But also, it was on the like popular top 10 list. Oh my God, that looks amazing.
Can I have smell-o-vision, please?
We have worked on that and haven't quite gotten smell-o-vision down, but it does smell divine.
You know what?
So.
Let me just call Willy Wonka really quick.
Yeah.
Let me see if
And
he's
get
got
the smell-o-vision.
Yeah.
that or
Yeah.
like the TV signal relay, so
Yeah.
I could just like put a bowl in my TV and just grab it and eat it.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to interrupt your story,
No,
but
you're good.
can you see how if you make those small, like this is a great little
Yeah.
appetizer,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got these little a French baguette rounds, but Robbie wanted pasta, so we made some pasta. But, you can
Yeah,
serve
but
it with little
baguette rounds
like
would
that
be awesome because you could just put the little meatball on top of it.
on top
like-
of it, and then in the sauce, sop up the sauce with
Mhm,
it.
mhm.
So I'm gonna let Robbie make his own plate because I know he's hungry. Because one of the things we do on our stream all the time is Robbie complains about how hungry he is because he has to wait for me to make dinner. So
Blair, I feel like there might be a trip to her state in our future just
Huh,
for
I will
food.
cook. Come,
I-
I will cook for you. It'll be great.
We could do a drive. It could be Harley and Blair's road trip.
Yes,
Listen,
we have something.
I want
Go
to say,
ahead.
she knows I am always up for traveling somewhere. It doesn't matter where we go and stuff like that. But if it means I actually get to be on somebody else's stream and like help them do their thing, I am like,
Yeah.
show me what I gotta do.
I made tortillas
Absolutely.
the last time I was in a stream like that.
What?
I was rolling out
Oh,
tortillas
no.
for like to be fried up. I was just rolling them out.
Awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
come on over. I've had lots of different people cooking in my kitchen. I've gone and cooked in a couple of other people's kitchens. So I bring it.
Sure.
We've done. I actually had somebody come. Teeds TV came from Australia I was here in the States for a month and actually came and stayed at the house.
Oh.
And we all cooked, and Darth Verbaka was here as well. And so we all cooked meat, because there's a thing. Darth Verbaka and I, he's like the little brother. I can't say that I never had, because I have a little brother. I'm the big sister he never had.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got all brothers. So we tease each other all the time. But we do little cook-offs all the time, and we tie. Like we did one where we tied for the score.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had chat, try to decide who won. That tied. Then we had another tiebreaker. We tied the tiebreaker. So we had Teeds was here, so we cooked so that Teeds could decide who actually taste the food and actually decide who won. Which it was, well, Robbie was the final decision, and I may have just told him. I said,
bias.
I said, just remember. Well, I'll tell you why I was
remember who
really
makes your
biased.
food.
Here we go. There's my first place spoon. Anyway, the advantage that I had there, Robbie wouldn't have had me win if he didn't think mine is best. But I know what kind of food he likes, so that's how I kind of could cheat. I was like, he likes spicy. He likes Mexican food. We're making Mexican meatballs. I'm gonna make a really spicy sauce with it. Because Darth made butter chicken meatballs. They were delicious. He's just did whatever the heck he wanted to. But anyway, it was fun.
Robbie said, and she totally didn't threaten the judge or anything.
No, I didn't.
But hours later, there's food. Hours. He's so dramatic. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, it took a little longer than 30 minutes. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
No, it's fine. Literally, the talk show can go as long as we want, so it's not a big deal.
But not 9 hours.
No, we're not doing no 9 hours. No,
I need beauty sleep at some point. I've been up since 5. Let me sleep.
No.
Can I have a fork?
Let's see. The next one we have is, if different, what is the thing that you are most proud of on being on Twitch?
I think building the community that I've built is probably the thing for me. I've been real intentional. I have amazing mods that are quick to get trolls out. And so I think that, and that took time. We didn't have a whole lot of mods at first, and then we had an incident where we were swatted while we were on stream. And after that, we had a lot more mods on stream because we didn't have a mod inside the house. So we didn't have a mod in the stream while that was going on because Robbie wasn't able to do modding, and my regular mods, the 2 or 3 that I had were out. So, but I think that just building that community was and the friendships that we've made from that, because we've met a lot of people in person, and I love that we've met so many people in person, not just at TwitchCon, right? That's because that's where I met you. Yeah. Which is amazing, but even just here in Texas, getting together with people on a semi-regular basis, and when we travel, just getting to meet people and hang out with them, it's been awesome. So, and while that's not exclusively something I've done, I'm more of a IRL type person. Like, this is great, and I get why people love it. I didn't really get it until I was streaming.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you can hang out with somebody and not have a camera in your face where everybody has to watch, you really get to know people. And overall, everybody's been pretty much exactly like they are on stream. You just get to know them a little more in depth.
No, I'm definitely not what I'm like on stream. You can ask Harley.
No.
There've been a couple.
Whew, let me tell you, the week, it was a week that we were together. It was a fun week.
Yeah.
I just slept with my door locked because somebody had a Ghostface costume in his bedroom, and he slept right next to me.
Okay.
And I didn't want a Ghostface costume in my face at 3 a.m.
Let me explain why I did this. Okay, so for the longest time, before we ever met and stayed in this cabin for a week with the different people who were on stream and stuff like that that we associated with and everything, we played Dead by Daylight. One of the killers in Dead by Daylight is Ghostface. Ghostface is my favorite person to play in that game.
Also,
And-
my favorite horror killer.
I wouldn't say, but also Harley and I's favorite horror killer when it comes to actual, like, Scream movies. Like, it's our favorite thing. So, as a joke, I said, oh, I'm gonna bring Ghostface with me because ha ha ha, Flair likes to do selfies in that game and kill people. So I did it as a joke. Well, then it also, when I ended up wearing it on stream for somebody's cooking stream and stuff like that. And then Harley was freaking out thinking, oh, he's going to show up in my room in the middle of the night as Ghostface. And so
I was dead set. I'm like, he's going to try to scare me.
I
with
did
this
it.
costume. There
Let-
were 2 different ways to get to that bedroom via
Yes.
hallways, though.
Yes, but let it be known, I did not. I literally went to bed and passed out. Mind you, I may have had a lot of alcohol, so my body was like, we're just gonna go to sleep.
In like a week, we went through like 6 bottles of liquor, like a case of wine.
Didn't I tell you?
It
'Cause
was
I
bad.
told you. And
Yeah,
when
we're
did
not
I
going to
tell
talk
you?
about the
A
amount of
long
alcohol
time
that we
ago.
went through
And
during
what did
that
I
time
say
we were
what
in the
happened
cabin.
when
But
I told you?
but-
Exactly what just happened.
we did have probably one of the best times in a cabin with other people during that time too.
And let's be clear, it wasn't like a cabin. It was like
A
a mansion.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was a newly listed mansion. So the person had not flexed the prices to be like what it should be at the time. It was like just new on the
They
market.
got a deal.
Yeah, it was what was it? 6 bedrooms basically.
It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 or 7 beds. There were
Yes.
7 beds.
Wow.
There were 7.
Then there was the
There were-
basement.
Yes, the basement. There was the regular level that had the kitchen, the dining area, the
And
giant
the master.
the master bedroom and the living room. And then the top floor had like 3 or 4 other bedrooms up there, and every bedroom had a bathroom.
That's nice.
It was insane. It only cost, what was it, $535 a night?
I think it was 500 a night.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. You know,
What-
there's pasta there.
And there was a huge yard. There was a giant pond lake area that was next to it. There was drive space for everyone to park where they needed to park. It was literally the perfect deal for it. So it was perfect.
Awesome.
But
There's a 3-car garage too.
yeah, but I mean there were also some issues, so we did end up getting a refund from Airbnb because it didn't completely say what it was. It stated that there were things that were not there.
It also said that there was a gym, and I was lied to. I wanted to work out during the mornings. There was no gym.
There was a bike. There was a bike.
No, there wasn't. The bike was missing
Wait.
because the bike was supposed to be in the basement.
Oh, yeah, because they moved it. Because they said, oh, it was there, but they moved it. They'd taken it with them. So there was supposed to be a bike, but it wasn't there.
And then we were doing a cooking stream, and like our selling point was that the Airbnb listed a
kitchen.
KitchenAid mixer.
Full kitchen.
Full kitchen, and there was a KitchenAid mixer in the pictures. And we get there, and there's no mixer. Because we were doing the tortillas from scratch.
Because we were making pozole and some brownies and things like that, too.
Oh my god, it was so bad.
We made do. It all turned out great. It was tasty. Everything was fine. We also may have went to the store a couple times to get what we needed to make sure that things would actually happen.
We didn't have pots big enough because there wasn't a
Ugh.
stock kitchen.
No.
There wasn't pans big enough.
No.
We had huevos rancheros. I still need some huevos rancheros, man.
And there were some...
I make killer huevos rancheros because my
All right, Blair,
ranchero
that's
sauce,
it. We gotta go try it.
my ranchero sauce is perfected. So
Yep. Okay, next summer, Flair, when I'm financially stable with teenagers who can just go chill with my mom, we'll just take a drive.
absolutely. Long down.
Wow, we went way off what we were supposed to be talking. I looked at the next question. I was like, wow, we really went really far off.
Oh, that's ADHD brain for you. Sorry.
But that's when you know it's good. You're just chatting at that point,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah. The next thing we had was, Dana, in your stream, you do a lot of community challenges and stuff like that. What has been your favorite one and why?
I love all of the community challenges that make Robbie cook for me. It's a challenge because I'm back trying to do tech and I'm constantly going, what do I need to do here? What am I supposed to do here? But then he's over here going, how do I do this? But I don't have to be on my feet, which is awesome. So I love those community challenges, but we have a lot of fun doing stuff. And tomorrow, while we don't have a community challenge, we're actually both going to cook different tacos because we're doing fundraising for St. Jude's tomorrow. So it'll be a Robbie versus Dana taco. And I will tell you that even though my food's usually better, everybody always votes for him because they don't want him to feel bad. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Can you tell us why specifically you're doing this for St. Jude and stuff like that? Just for people who are watching, because I know I'm not supposed to look at chat and see who's there, but there are some people that are not normally around that may want to come around.
So I'm part of Good Cause Crusaders, and so I usually either when we do fundraisers, it's our 3-month anniversary. So we usually do 2 or 3 fundraisers throughout the year, and May is always one of them. So we're actually raising money for the month for St. Jude's. In the fall and winter, I usually do No Kid Hungry because I do love their organization, and we're a food and drink stream, so I feel like that. But with the Good Cause Crusaders, they're usually doing St. Jude's, so that's and I like. I mean, I've known people who have used the services of St. Jude's, and it's been awesome to not have to worry about, how are we going to be able to afford this? Are we going to lose our house? Are we going to whatever? So that's. And it's kids. I want to do things for adults need help, but I love doing things for kids because kids, they don't have that, right?
They basically don't have the means to do anything for their situation. They're kind of just stuck where
Right.
they are.
Right.
Yeah. Where I'm at, like the biggest thing that like our school corporation does is we do drives for like Riley, up here and like Ronald McDonald House. So those are like some of the. And the funniest thing is as silly as it seems, like one of the things for Riley that they do here is they still collect soda pop top, like the soda can tops. So like
Yeah.
we just take in like hauls and we're like, here, take whatever you need, like because I don't know if they melt them down or what they do, but
You just turn
apparently-
them in. I
Yeah.
mean, it's aluminum, so
Right.
you're
But it's
you're
just like
turning it in.
they just want the pop tops, and I'm like, okay, cool. That's one thing that my kids can do to help out other kids, and I've been a parent whose child has been in a children's hospital. It's traumatic. It's the
Yeah.
worst experience that you could ever deal with as a parent, not knowing when your kid's gonna get out, when like the next thing's gonna happen. It's terrifying. But having those people there, Ronald McDonald Houses, all of that, the Children's Hospital
Yeah.
networking themselves, it's amazing. So definitely donate to kids. Like
Yeah.
they're kids. What do you expect? Be a good adult and show that you're humble enough to help out others who need help.
I think about
Yeah.
that and the box tops.
Yes,
The
I
box
still
top.
use the box tops, and there's an app for it now.
Oh, that makes it easier.
Yes, all you
Um,
have to do is like scan the receipt of the box top items that you did, and it like logs it in and it donates it to like that cause or that school. And then like we have a gas station here called Casey's, and you can actually link up with like our local school and donate rewards points, which equal money to
Yeah.
the school to buy products and earn points from this instead of using it for gas or anything like that. You can just donate it to the school.
I used to do this. This used to be one of the things when my kids were little. I was PTO president. I did fundraising, all of those kinds of things. And I remember when my daughter got to middle school, and we were talking, and I know we're way off topic now, but um, I was so tired of buying cookie dough and wrapping paper and all of that. And so, middle school, we were sitting around going, and I said, what if we just asked everybody for $25 and see if that works? And we said, we'll do a suggested $25, and if people want to give more or less, they can. And we raised so much money that way because everybody was tired of gift wrap and plants and cookie dough and all of
candy bars and cheese
Candy
and
bar.
sausage
The-
and all.
the-
Yeah.
The $9 like 4-ounce tub of trail mix.
Yes.
That's horrible and oversalted.
Yes.
So let me ask you, what's the weirdest thing you ever had to sell or buy for a fundraiser? I have a good one.
I want to say the cheese and sausage sale that we would do for band. Although, let me tell you, they have now started selling cooking ware for people, but it's not like the good cooking ware. It's the cheapy, like, like the, businesses like that are,
Yeah.
It's really like, basically you use it once or twice and it's bad. And I'm like, guys, if we're going to do something that we're going to ask for money, at least give them something they can actually use for a long time.
Yeah.
So, my situation's different because
Or chocolate
throughout-
bars. Chocolate bars.
Yes. Throughout middle school and elementary school, not only did I do those horrible like back to school fundraisers, I was also in band and choir, but I was also a Girl Scout. So,
Yep.
I mean, you could kind of take your pick. So in middle school for band and choir, instead of doing cookie dough or anything like that, we sold bags of fruit.
Oh, they
and
did trash bags.
poinsettias.
They did trash bags at our school. I just remembered that.
Trash bags was going to be mine. My niece was like, my sister-in-law said, hey, do you want to buy some trash bags from Delaney? And I was like, I'm sorry, excuse me.
My
She goes,
oldest,
they're awesome trash bags. And I go, but they're trash.
my oldest sold the liquid laundry detergent, like the gallon, the 30, like not the 30 gallon, but like the 1 gallon, like knockoff Tide with the
So
pump.
weird.
She sold those for softball. I picked up like 30 of those things. That was a workout trying to get those in the back of my car. I was like, who does this and why?
Robbie's getting more food. This is his 3rd time back.
That means it's good.
Yeah.
And it also means he'll sleep really well tonight.
I hope. Do you think you'll sleep really well tonight? Yes? He says yes.
Good.
So that's good. It's about time for him, after he finishes that, to make me another.
Are we almost at the
Always
rapid
another
fire
job.
flare?
No, we're not even halfway through the regular questions.
No, we're having too good of a time. That's what's happening.
Yeah. The next one that I have is, Dana, are you planning on going to TwitchCon? And if so, is there anything you wanna sneak preview?
Yes, we are. So there is a group of us, and I don't want to talk. I don't want to give too much away. We put in for doing a panel, but we're just waiting to hear back. So
I will tell you as an ad for just TwitchCon in general, do it. If you're thinking about it, just do it.
it's fun.
I am telling you, last year was the first time that I'd ever been there. Mind you, I may have worn costumes and things to maybe bring people towards me because
I mean, why not?
well, that and I normally just regular clothes and stuff like that may not have, like, people will be like, whatever, he's just a normal person. But when you wear costumes and stuff, people are like, ooh, let's take pictures. Let's talk. Tell me about you. And so I use it as my way to draw people in. And I will tell you, for people who are going, yes, I plan on going. And my costume or my costumes that I'll be wearing this year are sites you might want to see. I'm just telling you now.
They bring a little flair.
A little bit.
A little flair.
A little bit. Um,
Still have my apron on. This is awkward sitting.
let's see. So, Dana, tell us about Undaunting and your stream team and your experiences you've had with those.
So Undaunted right now hasn't really done too terribly much. That's Kanara's team. She does a lot more in her Discord than I would say she does with her Twitch stream. Her Discord's awesome. My first, so when I started, probably a month into when I started, I belonged to one called Bone Inn that was all the food and drink, a lot of food and drink people. I think there might have been other people in there, but the food and drink people in there were super helpful in helping me get started. Kitchen Confidence and Kanar in particular were like huge cheerleaders for me. And so I loved that. And then that one went away. So the person who had that one just kicked everybody out and decided not to have a team without any warning whatsoever. So I'm part of Good Cause Crusaders, and they are awesome because their focus in that one is raising money. And they raise money for a variety of things, but primarily for Starlight and St. Jude's and that kind of thing. And I think that they've raised, I know it's over $250,000. We may be at $500,000 that they've raised for them. So they're pretty amazing people, and they try to get, some of them try to get you into doing things like Rusty Rhymes does kitchen, or he does breakfast castles, and so that's always fun because then we all just make a breakfast castle during one of our streams and post it, and then we vote. And I even got my daughter to do one with me, which was fun. Hers was better than mine, but whatever. Mine was psychedelic. My problem is my waffle maker, because Robbie insists that Texas-shaped waffles taste better than, look at that. See, I got an automatic, like, drink refiller over here. So it's hard to make a structure with Texas-shaped waffles. Right. But I got something up my sleeve for next time. Anyway, so overall, my experience with teams has been really, really good. Some of them are more active than others. And it just, some of them have a lot of fun and some of them don't really do much. So kind of a mixed bag. It just depends on who's in charge of it.
I will tell people who are in the stream right now and also just into the ether and universe as well that I have contemplated, and Harley knows this, about making a stream team or something similar to that to build a community. But I guess my reserve in it too is that, like, I'm kind of already doing that with my Discord. Like, if you really look at who's in my Discord, it's very intentional. You have you know, my friends that I play with on a regular basis. You have people who like Dana, who I go into her stream and watch a lot when she's cooking on Sundays and stuff like that. The one time I did a cooking stream and I made homemade pizza, like, it's not my thing. Like, I'm like, cooking is not my thing. But, like, I will go watch people because they have something that, like, draws me in. Like, Dana's personality and the way she cooks and the way that she does her streams and stuff. And I'm like,
Aww.
So I would say, but it's very intentional. It's the thing. So that's kind of why I'm not really trying to make, like, a team, is because my Discord is very intentional on who I bring in, because it's people that, like, have things that, you know, if you're just sitting around and you're like, I kind of want to go watch somebody, like, you can literally go into my stream and there's somebody who plays Apex, Fortnite, cooking, singing, like, everything's in there because that's just the way that I am. I like a variety of people. So.
And I think that that's, you know, that's fair when it comes to streaming. I think that deciding what you want your community to look like, I don't know that everybody thinks about that. I think people think about, how can I get people to watch me?
Yeah.
Instead of thinking about what kind of community do I want to build. I'd rather have fewer people in my stream that I really enjoy their company. I don't care if people lurk. you can lurk all you want. I love having you there, even if you're lurking. That means that for some reason I'm adding some value to to you. But I've watched other streams, and I've gone, that's not my people,
Yep.
right? There's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just not my people, right? And I
Right.
don't know that those people would get much out of my stream. So if we could think about what is it that we want. So Robbie and I are mostly family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of reasons for that because I have a sailor mouth. There's Dana after dark. I could talk about all sorts of things, right? But I'm also a therapist.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's watching. Are any of my clients watching? Maybe, because I've had a couple of them bring up, you stream? Right? And then I'm like, yes. And they're like, is it okay if I watch you? And I said, just don't tell me you're watching. Like, I don't need to know that. Like, it really
Don't come in my
shouldn't-
chat and tell me who you are, please.
Right. None of that, right? So that's part of it for us as well. But also because, I don't want people to feel uncomfortable in my stream. Now, if you're my friend, I don't care if I make you feel uncomfortable. If you're my client, I'm trying to make you feel uncomfortable. So, but, when you come into a stream, for me, this is my downtime.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not here to be provocative. I do that enough in other areas of my life. I'm here to just enjoy myself, and that's who I want in my stream. I want people who bring laughter. If you know me, you've been in there a little while, feel free to be sarcastic and poke me a little bit. I don't care. If you don't know me, don't come in and try to be a provocative poking me when I don't even know who you are yet. Build that
Yeah.
rapport with me first.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
build the
there's-
rapport with you first.
There's very minimal people who can play with me and say certain things.
Mhm.
And I've gotten called out on that in real life. Like, they're like, well, why can so-and-so talk to you like that and I can't? I'm like, because
They've earned
they
it.
know me and they're friends. And if you talk to me like that, I'm probably going to start a fight.
Talk shit.
No.
Talk shit to Harley. I don't do that ever.
You have to earn that right.
You do. You
You
have
have to earn that right. Like, if I know, like, Darth pokes me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Pop, there's a couple of other people poke me all the time. Robbie does too. Like, let me annoy you. I get it, like, because I trust them.
Yes.
Right.
There's a time and
I
place
know-
for everything.
Right. But if you're brand new and you come into my stream and you go, "Oh, is that your son about Robbie?" Because I've had people do that. Because he's younger than me.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
Okay.
oh no. Can't do that.
No. although I will personally say this. Harley can just tell anyone, go ahead and try to like poke, like say shit, things like that to me and stuff like that. I have a personality; it will just bounce off. Trust me. I've been around
Oh,
drag.
I do that.
I've been around drag queens, like and people who go to bars and say shit to people and stuff like that. I will literally like. I know who I am. I know what I have to offer. Say what you
I do
want.
too.
Yeah, say what you want.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm like I've worked with veterans.
Yes.
And I work with addiction.
yes.
So you ain't gonna say nothing that surprises me. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I see you. I know what you're trying to do there. But I don't
Yeah.
say it. I'm just like, most of the time, if they do it and it's really inappropriate, my mods, they're out.
Well,
If it's something that isn't terrible, but isn't what
Yeah.
mine is about,
yeah.
we'll be like, hey, that's not something we really talk about there. My mods will say, hey, this is not what this is about. My community will call them out on it, and if they keep doing it, they're out.
Yeah.
I'm not about like saying, hey, we can learn here. We can definitely learn, but at the same time, this is supposed to be fun for me. And if I get to the point where I'm like sitting there schooling you or trying to teach you something, then now it's work again.
Yep. Well, and I think too that when you're building community, like your people will find you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the people who are
I
not
agree.
the people who are not supposed to be there will come and go, this isn't for me, and they will go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and
Absolutely.
I think there's also positives in having mods and people that know you. Because there's been a couple times where like Blair's been in my channel, my other half has been in my channel, some of my friends. People will say something that'll be like a trigger word or something or bother me, and they'll just see like an instant reaction, and they'll try to diffuse the situation, and we'll try to scoot the person out quietly. And if it doesn't work, then somebody gets to use the flamethrower, which is my mod mode. Somebody gets to ban somebody or do something because somebody's being
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
Well, it's not only that too. I think ultimately it's about like we all have our guidelines and our guiding, like basically how we view how our stream wants to be. And your mods that you have in your channel, ultimately, when you have the greatest like example of your mod, stuff like that, they know you, they know what you can tolerate, they know like where the line is basically, and they will guard that line. And then if somebody crosses that line, they will be like, hey, like, no, 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 let's not do that, let's go back over here. But if they keep
Yeah.
doing it, then, hi, child.
Yeah,
We have a visitor.
she was lonely. She's also like partially sick, and she's like, Mom, it's been
Aw.
2 hours.
This is supposed to be an hour and a half.
I know,
You're
she's
supposed to
texted
cook
me
too
like
long.
3 times. She's like, Mom, is it almost done?
We're having too good of a time.
I know, I told her that. I'm like, I'm sorry. That's why she poked her head in.
Yeah.
But isn't that the whole mom thing too? Because my kids would always go, Mom, you said we were going to leave like 20 minutes ago. And I'm like, yes, but I'm having a conversation right now. And they're like, oh.
Yeah, and normally, I guess I'm at that phase in momhood where, like, I get to be friends with my kids. I get to be friends with my kids, but also be a mom. Like,
Yeah.
I asked them crazy Mother's Day questions that I found on Facebook yesterday that they answered like 4 years ago, and to see
Oh,
how their
really?
answers have changed,
Oh, I
like
love
on
that.
how they see me. Like one of them looked at me last night and they're like, "We love how loving and supportive you are." I was like,
Aww.
okay,
You're-
I needed to save that because in a week that's not gonna matter when I say no, you can't stay up.
But also you're
But in the long term, it will.
yeah, and also you're also like, can you please say this into this phone recording for me real quick?
Microphone, guys, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just need it somewhere.
But it's also too that her kids have also gotten to the point now where they also know her friends, and they also know like and like they appreciate what her friends do for her. Like Sinful
Yeah.
will talk to him, I'll talk to him, Quibi will talk to him. Basically, we are their extended family that may not be there, but they know who we are.
They do. They really do. And the greatest thing is like they all have a form of communication with them for the most part. So if they need to talk to them outside of like me saying something, they have that option. Except for, Flair, because Flair doesn't do kids. Flair just, if I show up with kids, he's like, okay, we got like 30, 45 minutes tops, and then I'm out.
Or I'll say, do we have alcohol here somewhere? Because then it'll extend the timer. Because let it be known, those who are around here right now, I lasted, what was it, 2 hours, 2.5 hours with your kids?
Yeah.
It's great.
Yep.
But I also had 2 mimosas in the process of that hour.
The next time we met, we were in an outlet mall. There was no booze, and I had been walking my kids around for 2 hours.
So
it did not last long.
But they were also tired. So the kids
were tired and hangry and cranky.
Yeah, so the kids wanted to go. I had just showed up. And so it was fine.
We did our shopping, and they were like,
but
we're
also
dead.
But also my parents were also meeting us there too. So like when my parents showed up, then I went to go be with my parents and did all that stuff.
But yeah.
Well, I can tell you with my kids being this year, they're going to turn 26 and 30. that as I get older, all of a sudden I become smarter. Because they'll say things like, you know, Mom, when I was a teenager and I was this. And they're like, but you were trying to teach me this and I get it now. And I'm like, it's okay. I knew you were a teenager. Like you know, being a therapist and working, sorry, there was a bug trying to drink my drink and that's not okay.
That's for me, not
You
you.
think like, what is Dana doing over here?
Dana doesn't share alcohol.
She's using her hands in a very, very dramatic way.
Anyway, so yeah, and they want their teenagers to not be teenagers, and I'm just like,
They're gonna be teenagers,
but they are.
though.
I mean, like, I know they're not going to listen to me. I know they're not going to get it. I know that they're going to think I don't understand, but I also know that later in life they're going to get that I understood, and they're going to understand what I was trying to teach them and everything. And I'm like, so right now you're just planting seeds.
Yep.
You're just planting seeds. And I said, consequences to actions that are important, absolutely. Don't expect them to understand it, and it's okay.
No. They never understand.
Well,
And it's okay.
I was going to say, my stepdad and I, when I was a teenager, and I had this view of how my life was supposed to be and stuff like that. Mind you, also, I came from a broken house.
Didn't we all?
But I came from a broken household. My biological dad wasn't really in the picture. So he was kind of the father figure that kind of got me to where I was. To then where other people, when I got into college, who were my professors, also kind of fatherly, like pushed me forward and stuff like that. Like, I hated that man growing up. Literally could not stand him because I was like, I have been independent. I have been helping my mom grow my family for X, Y, and Z, like, amount of years and stuff like that. And stuff like that. And then this man's going to come in here and tell me how I'm going to live my life, basically.
Yep.
And I mean, now we're great friends. He says, you were literally the only kid out of all of the siblings that I have, step siblings and everything, that he's like, I don't have to worry about you. You will figure it out. You will get things done because you literally, like, we fought and stuff like that, but I realized, like, he only had my best interest in mind. It wasn't because he was trying to be the parent being like, basically like, no, you can't do blah, 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 blah. Like,
out of love.
Yes, it's because they know you need to know this at some point because you're eventually going to have to face this in some other capacity, and this is how you respond to it.
Yep. Yeah,
Kids only need pretty good parents.
Yeah. Don't let him know that
That's what the research.
Don't let him know.
Don't let him know.
Yeah, don't let him know that I said that, even though he's the one that built this PC that I'm streaming on right now.
I was gonna say, he built that PC. I know this.
He might actually be watching. Dana, let me just tell you, this as soon as he built this PC, Harley was here. He was in streams making sure that things were working the way that they were supposed to be.
Wow.
He's on top of it.
And it's funny too because my mom will pop in. My mom doesn't actually have an account. She'll just watch like without having an account because you can do that, but you can just like not. And then like he'll watch it and stuff like that. And then we'll go out to dinner like months later and he'll be like, oh, I watched your stream while you were playing blah, 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 blah. And it looks so great. And you look like you're having so much fun and da, 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 da. And I'm like, they're actually watching me. Which is hilarious. Okay, let me tell you this, Dana, though. The PC was built from former parts of his old gaming PC. He games more than I do.
Oh, wow.
And so he gave me some of his old parts and also was giving me things to make sure they would work properly and stuff like that. But he built his PC with new parts and gave me his old things. And Harley can tell you, that's literally the only thing that was missing from my streams from when I started was I did not have the equipment to be able to do what I needed to do. And I kept telling people, just wait. It will come. Eventually, when I'm able to get what I need to do, it will all come. And here it is.
The stars have aligned, guys.
Well, and I think that it's really important. Like, I like to tell people when they're like, I don't have the right equipment to start. And I say, when we started, our camera was the cell phone. And it was a cell phone until we did get swatted, and then we switched it because the police did try to call me multiple times.
Oh
So
no.
I was like, oh, okay. So we started with a cell phone and a laptop.
Yep.
And then I had an iPad that I was watching chat on, and that's it. Like, and it worked really well for a little bit to at least get started to go. Because I've talked to other people who try to have all the things, and I'm like, first of all, having all the things is a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it costs a lot.
And it
It
costs
is
a
a lot
lot
of money.
But just start and then add what you need, because what you think you need now may not actually be what you need.
Oh yeah. I was
Right?
gonna say.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we've got 5 cameras now. We have 5 cameras now, and we've got multiple lights because we have to light an entire kitchen so
Yep.
that you can see everything
Right.
in all parts of the kitchen. And Robbie brings his gigantic gaming laptop, or not laptop, desktop down and all the things. But that's not how we started. We started because now I've got a monitor like right in front of me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't read on this iPad. I'm old. I can't watch that. So you just add stuff. And for us, it's just been a gradual adding. And then eventually we go, okay, maybe we need this. Maybe this would be helpful. But if you start by trying to make everything perfect, you're going to find you spend a lot of money on stuff you didn't need to spend money on.
Right.
Well, not only
think-
that is that if you're, but also part of that too is you're seeing other people doing things and you're trying to replicate them, and you're not you're not doing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's that too, in that my kitchen is very different than other people's kitchens. Some people's kitchens are very tiny. My kitchen is not tiny. My kitchen's a good sized kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So light is more important in my kitchen than certain kinds of cameras and stuff. But for other people, like if I tried to do one of the cameras that moves in my kitchen, I don't know that it would go everywhere because my kitchen is so.
Well, and Robbie just
And
said, Robbie just said too, and you will never start until you think everything is perfect.
Yes. And I'm a recovering perfectionist, so let me say that right now. I always thought I had to have everything right before I could start doing anything. And that's why I said, let's just start. Let's just do it, because I don't want to go spend a bunch of money on stuff if I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it. And the one
Right.
thing Robbie and I agreed on at the very beginning was, if this isn't fun anymore, we're not going to do it.
Yep.
So there have been times where I've gone, I'm not having fun. And there have been
Right.
times Robbie's gone, I'm not having fun. We're like, okay, what are we doing wrong here then? Do we need to do something different? We've been able to make those changes because burnout's a real thing. And I've seen so many streamers burning out. And, you know, when we look at burnout, there's emotional burnout, which is, there's a therapist coming out at me. Hello.
No, go ahead.
welcome.
Go ahead and talk about this because Harley and
We're
I
good.
both have stories about this. So go ahead.
Burnout, emotional burnout is when we've cared too much for too long. There is the burnout that comes from feeling like you don't make a difference anywhere. And there's depersonalization. So there's different kinds of burnout. And I think that streamers are really susceptible to all of those kinds of burnout.
They really are. I know that it was last year, right, Flair? For me,
Yes.
it was after our meeting in the cabin. I took 6-7 months off just because the idea of gaming made me sad. Nothing felt right. But I will also go on record and say that I am a person who's lived with severe depression since I was 17, and I also have anxiety. And I wasn't properly medicated, and I didn't know how to handle a system because it actually took me leaving my last job, losing the insurance I had because of that job, getting a new job in the medical field and getting the right insurance, for my doctor to say, hey, your insurance isn't going to fight me if I give you this medication, since we've tried 17 other medications to try to help your depression. and it took a long time. I still don't stream consistently. I just do it every once in a while, but
Okay.
I still have like an amazing community. I still come in and I play with Flair and I play with, other friends when they ask. It's just one of those things where it's like burnout's real, and having a full-time job and being a mom full-time and then trying to stream, but
Absolutely.
streaming turns into a full-time job. And when I started streaming, I didn't have this set up. I had no computer actually. I had to borrow my mom's laptop to make overlays to run it off of my Xbox. And my Xbox had no camera. So like my first year and a half of streaming was no cam and just gameplay.
Yeah.
So, I was lucky enough to have a really good significant other who actually surprised me for my 30th birthday with a custom built PC. Um,
Wow.
and then, I had to work on the camera and the lightings because all I had was the desktop itself. So I had friends who helped me get the mouse and the keyboard. One of my friends donated the microphone. My significant other and I got the uh, 2 dual monitors together, and I got the desk myself. And
Yeah.
ironically, this chair is actually from my old job.
Oh,
I just
wow. That's
they were
funny.
gonna get rid of it, and I was like, "Let's just repurpose it. I'm gonna take it home. I'm gonna use it as a gaming chair," because before I had one of those little, like, $40 roller chairs from Target, which would, like, kill your back and had no padding.
But at least you get to sit down while you stream. I don't really get to do that.
I don't think
I'm
I
like
don't think
wandering
I could
around the
do what
kitchen.
you do, just because I'm always, even though I work in a medical office as a receptionist, I'm always up and moving because I'm
Yeah.
always willing to help, like, back office run clinic, and I'm running to throw charts up, and I'm running to get receipts, and, like, I'm always up and moving, so
Yeah.
this is like my chill time.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
But yeah, burnout
Um,
is very, very real.
and I think that that's so for us, like we did when we were in September of last year. So we were doing September stuff. We were doing a bunch of special stuff, but
It's
we
a
were also at
lot.
the same time we were doing food fight. So that was an extra day during the week plus creative energy. And we got to the end of the month and I said to Robbie, I said, I'm only going to stream one day a week in October. I said, that's all I can do. And he was very supportive of that. So in November and December, we did two, sometimes three a week, but mostly two. And then we got to the end of December and I said, I can't. My schedule for regular work has picked up significantly. Um, and I'm just like, I can't, I don't have enough. And I
Right.
think that that's something we have to recognize as streamers because I've watched streamers who feel like they need to stream all of the time to retain the people and everything. And if you're a full time streamer and this is all you're doing and this is how you're making your money and paying your bills, I get it. I get it. But if you don't take care of yourself now, you will pay for it later
Yeah,
somewhere down
definitely.
the road. And so for me, we've been just like once a week. The last month and a half has been really tough for me. So we've had to cancel even a couple of streams. But um, I'm like, I'm in a better place now. So I'm like, okay, we're going to stick with the one a week. But with the fundraising, we've got options to have a second one a week, depending on
Right.
fundraising goals. Um, but I'm just like, this is what I can do right now. And, when we started streaming, we thought 2 times a week and we thought we would ramp it up to 3 times a week. But after, after about a month and a half, we were like, no, I think 2 a week is good because Robbie has a full time job and I have a full time job, you know? And I, I hope more people recognize that you have to take care of yourself. And most people, this is not their main source of income. And so when it is helping you and filling your bucket up, awesome. If what it's doing is depleting your bucket and you have nothing else that is filling your bucket up, you need to back off of it for a while, not forever. It's not a forever thing. And the people who really are important to you and matter to you will show up to your streams when you decide to come back.
I'm
I think
gonna.
Flair
So-
and I both know that from personal experience.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, let me just tell a story real quick without associating where that story came from. So I used to stream. First of all, I used to stream basically every day when I
You
first
did.
started streaming. Every single day. I don't even know how long. There were some days I would stream for multiple hours and stuff like that. And I first realized people would show up for like 2 minutes and then leave and stuff like that. And so because of the fact that I stream so much, they're like, oh, he's just streaming the same thing. I'll just blah, blah. So that's also part of it too, is you oversaturate your audience to where they're like, oh, he's always streaming. He's doing the same thing. I know what he's played this game. It's going to end the same way. Da, 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 da. So they leave. So having less streams makes your audience go, ooh, what are they doing this time that's different than last time? So there's part of that too, is oversaturation is a big thing. The second thing is I was also a mod for multiple channels on top of being a streamer.
And he was a terrific mod, like leader mod.
Like I was at every stream, watching everything, doing all the things for this person. They didn't have to really.
Even while at work.
Yeah, while at work, mind you, at work.
While at work.
Yes.
While at work.
Yes. We don't talk about that. So while at work doing this and stuff like that, so it also blended into my regular life too. But it got to a point where that person was also having me do planning events for that person, helping them make decisions on what they should do for their stream, making things for their graphics, doing all these other things, promo things for them. It became so consuming that it drained me to where I got to the point I didn't want to stream. I was doing so much for other people. I had no energy to do my own thing. And it, like, I literally had a full on goodbye Twitch, I'm done, not doing this anymore type of stream because I just couldn't do it anymore. It was so draining. And then came back, was a month and a half later. It was like,
Almost 2 months.
yeah, but there was also a whole thing of that streamer and I had basically this whole come to Jesus. I didn't like what I was doing. They didn't, and then it kind of blew up into its own thing, and I've disassociated with that person and stuff like that. But ultimately, it was a good thing because it made me realize, one, you need to have boundaries for yourself and be like, if I'm at work, that's all I'm doing. I am at work. That's it. These are my hours I have to do streaming. These are my hours I have to do extra stuff. Like, it helped me create boundaries, which is a wonderful thing. And if you don't have boundaries, then you're going to drive yourself mad. Just in general. You may be the most helpful person. And also this person, I will say, I love dearly. I donated thousands of dollars towards this person's stream and things like that. It was a lot. It was a lot
There's
for me.
no shade. It's just a complete falling out.
Yes. And and honestly, it was for the best for both of us. But I will tell you, you have to have boundaries. You have to make expectations. And that is why also, like, I tell them, the mods that I do have, they know how to do basic commands and things like that I do for my stream, but I am self-sufficient. My things are automated. They will do their own things. It's like, I can also do it myself, and I don't expect anyone to do anything for me because that's not the point. I am the streamer. But also I know where my limits are and what I can and can't do. And that's also why I've set limits of I will stream regularly twice a week. And I will not do more than that. And if I do, it's because I have extra time and I just feel like doing it. But that is my regular scheduled thing. And that's also why we do the talk show once a month, is because I need time in that one month to figure out all I need to do of what I'm going to ask the person, do the research about that person. Like, I have Broadway performers, artists, things like that. I need to know what they're doing at this time to be able to tell people, hey, go check out what this person's actually doing right now. Yeah. So it takes time. Work. Yes.
I think that's the thing to remember about streaming, is that when you're working in television or radio or any place like that, you have an entire team of people doing these
Yes.
things,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So when we would put on a show, so like I worked on a couple of shows about college athletics, right? As a PA, so I was like coordinating some things along with the producer, and but we had somebody doing all of the things. Like I
Yes.
wasn't having to go out and call to get clips. I wasn't having to call to figure out where we were going to market or anything. I wasn't having to call to I did edit stuff, but
Yes.
other than that, there were people who were doing all the other things, setting up the stage. When you're a streamer, unless you're me and very lucky and have Robbie who's doing all the tech stuff, you're doing everything by yourself. So you're doing the job of about 12 to 24 people by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? To put on your production. And I think that that's an important thing for streamers to understand, is that you're not failing if you need to take time off. You're not letting your community down. You're trying to do the job that took 12 to 24 people. And if you're watching television, there's at least that many people involved in the production. And so to give yourself grace and go, I can't be 12 people, because you know what? You can't be 12 people.
Yep.
You just can't. So that's why it is so this has actually been great for me as a recovering perfectionist, because I mess stuff up all the time.
Yeah.
And I know Robbie's had to come from a place where he always wanted everything to be perfect when we were on, and to just go, it's okay. Like, that thing of saying, well, if you're not having technical difficulties, are you really a streamer?
Yeah.
That's a true thing. I mean, you're going to have it. And I keep trying to remind Robbie, it's like, I mean, are we streamers? Now, have there been things that have annoyed both of us? Absolutely. But for the most part, we're able to go, things just aren't going to be perfect when we do the stream. And I think the pandemic was very good for me that way, because I watched a lot of chefs
Yeah.
who were streaming, professional chefs. And it reminded me, excuse me, because I've done professional photography before too. It reminded me that the way I was able to tell myself it was okay to be a professional photographer, I would look at my pictures, and this is, before there was digital photography where you could check your stuff out. It was like the people on National Geographic or any of these things are taking hundreds and hundreds of photos to get that one that you saw.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So don't think that every picture that they put in there is that one, right? And the streaming is the same thing. We're watching television. They get to edit out all of the stuff they don't want us to see. We don't get to edit that out.
Mm-hmm.
No.
We just get to be vulnerable and show you all of our mistakes and everything.
We're live TV.
So
Well,
we're
it's
like,
with restrictions.
and it's
So-
it's not only that too. It's that, and my boss said this earlier today with our own work that we do in the field that I'm in, is that you have a capacity, and there's also an expectation of, like, this is what you should, like, this is where, like, the quality of what's expected from your stream, because you've created that. And if
Yeah.
it gets to a point that you're adding so much in, you're doing so much extra stuff, and it starts to take away from that quality of what you're expecting to do, then you have to say, no, we need to push this off. We need to make this, or what's another way we can do this so that it's not strenuous on us?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a lot for us to go down the rabbit hole of doing. Just for me to say, so Dana used to do yoga streams. Tell us about that, and do you plan to bring those back?
I think this is a great place to put that, because I have done my 200-hour yoga training, certified yoga training instructor, trauma-informed yoga training as well. And so I really wanted to share about what yoga was about to everybody, because people in the West don't, for the most part, understand what yoga is. Because there are 8 parts to yoga, and we focus on the physical part, the asanas. So I wanted to kind of bring that in because really what it is about becoming a better person and finding the enlightenment for you. So I really did mine as very gentle yoga, trying to mind body connection, that kind of stuff. And so we were doing it on Monday mornings
What?
and we would
Oh
stream on
no!
Sunday nights. We did it for a couple of weeks and I enjoyed doing it. However, this is one of those things which you were talking about, Flair, was that we have to have boundaries, right? And so for us, what was happening was we were ending our stream on Sundays, cleaning the kitchen, moving all the equipment and the furniture to set up for yoga for the next day and for the next morning. And it interfered with our relationship. And
It's kind of
so we were,
stressful.
yeah. And so we were like, we're running around for 2 hours before the stream, then running around for the 2 hours of the stream, and then running around for an hour and a half after the stream, cleaning the kitchen, setting everything up. And we were like, it's not good for us. It's tiring. It's exhausting. And it was no longer what I wanted it to be for me.
Yeah.
And so that was why I didn't do it. Could I do it sometime in the future? Yes, given the right context. Right now I'm too busy with work, but maybe somewhere one day when I'm retired, I can do it and I can go, look, if you're this old, you can do this with me too. And I was always trying to like make sure that people like, everybody can do yoga. If you have to sit in a chair and do yoga, you can do yoga. If you have to lie down in your bed and do yoga, you can do yoga. Like everybody can do it. So hopefully one day I can bring that. I think it's a great thing to help reduce our stress cycles.
That's right.
So maybe one day, but it isn't going to be anytime in the future.
I literally just got the crap scared out of me because my friend Ducky just said that he loves doing yoga and stuff like that. And like,
Oh.
I forgot that I had attached stuff to his entrance and stuff like that. And it was his clips of him playing DVD with us and him
Oh.
busting the generator and stuff like that. So I was like, what is happening?
Chaos.
But anyways,
That's funny.
but speaking of kind of boundaries and setting yourself up for to be successful and stuff like that, what do you do in your daily life to keep yourself centered, and does that involve mindfulness?
Absolutely involves mindfulness. Otherwise, I wouldn't be very good therapist telling all of my clients to be more mindful. Um, so it does. And so I try to start my day centered. And so when I wake up in the morning, I make myself a cup of coffee. Sometimes I have to take care of the dog because he's a pain in the butt and he's right here at my feet. Because he's like, I think I found food. Dana's feet. Let me eat it. But then what I do is if I can, I sit outside. If not, I've got a sunroom and I sit in the sunroom and I journal, and I have a couple of daily readings that I do. And I need to get back to, I was doing about 15 to 30 minutes of yoga and meditation, and that's pretty hit or miss right now. But I know I feel better when I do that. So that is what I would like to get back into doing. And getting to more yoga
used to love
classes.
meditation. Meditation was great, and I think I'm at a point right now in life where I call my brain brainy brain, but brainy brain is so wound up. And like even when I try to meditate, because I try to meditate at night to like start sleep meditation to like calm my body down, and I have to do the like trying to recenter myself every 3 seconds, which just exhausts me more.
It is, but that is so if you're looking at yoga, what is considered meditation has 4 parts to it.
Right.
And we can't jump to part 4 because really the only people who get to part 4 are the people who practice it all the time. So Buddhist monks or
My uncle actually spends an hour a day in meditation. A half an
Which
hour in
is-
the morning, a half an hour at night. I'm like, I don't know how you do that, but I absolutely love you for it.
which is awesome. Still probably not at stage 4 because Buddhist monks spend at least half their day doing it, like 12
Right.
hours a day, right? So, but there's a lot of benefits coming from just being able to meditate. And even if we're only taking 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, and if all we do for that 5 minutes a day is go, thank you, thought, for being here. What I'll think about you later. Thank you for being here. I'll think about you later. We're still getting benefit from it because we're teaching our brain that that we can control it rather than it controlling us. And eventually you'll get to the other part. So if you think about anything else you do in your life, let's say I'm learning how to play basketball. We're not going to expect we're not going to sit there at our first time and say, all right, so if you're on defense and this happens, you need to do this. And if you're over here, you need to do this. And here's how you do a 3-point shot, right? We start with dribbling.
Right.
It's not very exciting.
You can't expect
How do you
everyone
hold?
to be Michael Jordan on the first day.
Right. And there's something to be said if you think about what they talk about when they talk about yoga and meditation, it's a practice. And you know why it's a practice? Because we never perfect it. So we're always
Right.
practicing it. So, anyway, I'm
Next
off my
question?
soapbox now.
No. And you can't become a content creator that does magical, wonderful things and get millions of viewers and stuff like that from day one. It just doesn't happen. You have to-
Yeah.
It's a long road.
Yes. Play the long game.
Yep.
The next thing I have is I see that you like to do traveling from your photos and your Discord and stuff like that. Tell us about your favorite places you've been and why.
Well, if I don't say Italy, Robbie, you'll throw something at me over here. But yeah, we went to Italy last year, and that was my second time, but his first time in Italy. And I love the food.
I told you. What did I
love
tell
the
you? Didn't I tell you?
culture.
'Cause I told you.
It's
And when did I
just,
tell
I
you?
love
A
being
long
able to
time
slow
ago.
down
And what did
in
I say
life.
what happened when I
So
told you?
I did love
Exactly what just
Italy.
happened.
It was awesome. But I just love to travel in general. So if you take me to some place where I can sit on a beach, I'm happy. You take me someplace with good food. You take me someplace where I can learn something. I'm pretty flexible. I like to just experience things. So
You're an immersive person. Like once you
I
get there, you
am.
want to be in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I even taught myself a little Italian before we went.
Well, you got to, don't you?
Did you have the pocket like dictionary to figure out what people were saying to
No, I will. No, but here's what happened because, this is 2024, not 1990. So I actually did one of the little apps,
you?
and I got decent. I could ask very basic questions and everything. But when we were in Tuscany and I was cooking with the woman in Tuscany, her husband spoke 0 English. And so he would have his phone out and we'd talk into his phone and then he'd look at it and then he would talk into his phone and he'd show us his phone. And then sometimes he'd go, no. And he'd go, and then he'd show it to us. But
And things
So-
like translations are key now.
Yeah.
hey, we're
It's-
pretty close to the Star Trek like little translators.
Yes, I know. I
Beam
I
me up,
use.
Scotty.
I would say I use my phone sometimes with friends just for ha-has that live in like Brazil and stuff like that. That I will literally just talk to them that way. I will send a message and go back to them. And we'll go back and forth, and we can just talk. It's amazing
Yeah.
how we've progressed.
Yeah, it's cool.
If you could switch lives with somebody for a day, who would it be?
Yeah, I didn't think about that one. I could switch lives with somebody for a day. Robbie, who would I switch lives with? You? No, I don't want to do any accounting. Sorry.
That's fair.
Probably somebody doing movies because I always wanted to do acting or singing or something along that line. That was kind of my dream when I was little. So it would probably be somebody on a movie set.
All right, she'll be
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg would be awesome. Yes.
Because then you've also won Emmys and stuff too, so you're accomplished.
Wait, does this include time travel? Can we
Yes.
go back to
Anyone.
like
Anyone.
ET time?
Yeah, anyone.
Or like I don't know. I feel like it would be fun to go see like Judy Garland like right after she did The Wizard of Oz and like was in her prime, or
Mm,
even
but
Julie Andrews.
I would say Judy Garland had a lot of stuff going on, so I don't know if you really living her life you would enjoy it because she had a lot of stuff happening.
This is true, but I would like to just be able to experience something. I'm not gonna say Natalie Wood because we all know how that one ended.
Yeah.
But like
Just for a day.
even Julie Andrews, like she's still alive. She's like one of the sweetest like actresses I've
Yeah,
heard
love
of
Julie
in like
Andrews.
generations. Like,
Yeah.
could you imagine being Mary Poppins?
Mhm.
Could you? And then fast track to the Queen of Genovia.
Yep.
Like, come on.
I used to go around the house singing Sound of Music all the time when I was
Right.
like 7, 8 years old.
Har-
I was
Har-
a
Harley
very big Mary Poppins fan.
Harley knows if I would be anybody, it'd be like Carol Burnett.
Oh, Carol Burnett would be awesome.
Just
Yeah.
her show, the things that she did, and just
Love her.
she just kickstarted so many people's careers, and I'm a person who, if I can support you in any way possible, like I will do it. So like that type of like mentality is, I just strive to be like her.
I mean,
Yeah.
it would for me. It would definitely be somebody. You know what? This is if we can go back in time, it would probably be somebody back in the days of the earlier days of TV, like a Betty White or a
Lucille
espe-
Ball.
Lucille Ball, who did so much more than anybody really understands that she did for
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
That would be
Same with Betty White.
Yep.
Betty White did
Right?
so much more, and my kids have told me over the years that I'll probably be Betty White when I'm like 70 or 80. So,
But you will be one of the most loved people in the entire world. So you know
I
what?
was like,
if
I'm good with that.
yeah, I would say if that's who you're gonna be, I think you're landing in a real good spot.
I mean, if that's who my kids think I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I've done something right. So, yeah,
Uh,
it's a good question.
If you were on a game show, what would it be, and what do you think you would win?
What do I think I would win?
Yeah, like if you could win a game show, what do you think you would win, and what game show would it be?
I'd probably do something with words like lingo. Although I love Wheel of Fortune, and I used to watch that with my kids.
I used to
and
scream at the
watch
TV
that.
watching that. Every time I'd be like, "This is what it is," and it would never be anywhere close to what it actually was. But
And since I'm back from the early days of Wheel of Fortune, I'd probably win like the ceramic dog and
you don't want that brand
The
new
stereo.
car.
the stereo.
I like
Do you
that
guys remember that?
one-story stereo.
Yeah. So you guys remember, like in the early days, you would go shopping with your money?
Yep.
and
Mhm.
stuff? Yeah.
Yep, you get a pick out of this wall of selections. Oh,
Yeah.
look, there's a Tupperware collection.
And I'd be the one, so it's like, oh, and you got $75 left, so I guess the ceramic dog is yours next. I don't know why I remember that, but I remember that from one, and I'm like, who wants a ceramic dog? I was
Yep.
probably like 10, but I'm like,
You know who wants them now? Fire department.
A person that you admire or look up to.
I mean, there's so many people. I learned something from people all of the time. Again, we'll go back to kind of the same thing. Like the early women that were pioneering women, even though they didn't get the credit for it in television and film and radio, like the Betty Whites and the Carol Burnett's and the Lucille Balls, right? Like they did so much, and they didn't get credit for all of the amazing things they did, just for their personality on their shows. You know, so I look up to I look up to that, to people who pioneer in a field that they've been underrepresented in. I also look up to people, and it's so hard for me because I don't think of in particular people. I love Brene Brown. I think that she's so go to the therapy side of things. Um, I think she has brought to mainstream a lot of the things that we see in therapy and that people enjoy learning about it. Like they enjoy learning the hard stuff about it because she's engaging, she tells stories, she's funny, and she is incredibly knowledgeable about her subject matter. Um, so people like that, and just in general, people who try to lift up marginalized communities for me is really important. I grew up in a pretty sheltered middle class, upper middle class, white kind of life, you know, and I think that over the years I've really gotten to I really have opened myself up to understanding way more than that piece of it. So I appreciate people who have done that work.
And made it to
So I'm
where.
sorry.
No,
Yeah, sorry to give you one name here.
No, but I get it because like you get to the point too where like you have people who basically are paving ways for other people who are just like them to be able to have a better life and
Yes.
ultimately doing all that groundwork so that somebody who never in a million years could consider doing whatever career path they wanted to do is it's just automatic now at this point.
Yeah, or do it despite the fact that they may not actually get any credit
Yes.
for it, or they will get very little credit for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now for the fun part. Here's rapid fire for you, Dana. Are you ready?
That's good. 2 martinis in. Yes, let's do that.
What's your favorite color?
Orange.
Favorite food?
That really just depends on my mood, but we'll go with anything carby or ice cream.
Favorite movie?
Star Wars.
Which one is your favorite?
The original. That's why I went into radio, TV, film, was all because of the original Star Wars movie.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla.
Favorite song?
It also depends on my mood. I'm a child of the 80s, so it would probably, if I had to pick a song, it'll be a Duran Duran song of some sort. But again, it will depend on my mood. I'm a Duranie. Yes, I'm unapologetic for it.
What would be your superpower?
I would be able to teleport anywhere.
Star Trek all the way.
Yep. Favorite dessert?
Ice cream something.
Favorite cocktail?
Martini.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Your celebrity crush?
I don't really have a celebrity crush, but I guess if I were going to pick anybody, it would be young Harrison Ford.
Daytime or nighttime?
It depends on the activity. Probably nighttime.
Tent, RV, cabin, or hotel?
Hotel or cabin. But I'm pretty laid back. Like if you want to go in a tent, I can find something to enjoy about almost anything. So.
Dream vacation destination?
So I've been to Italy. I would love to go to Bali. Robbie doesn't really like the beach, so who wants to go to Bali with me? All right, you and I, let's go to Bali. I want to do something like tropical, like Bali, Sri Lanka, something like that, where there's
fun.
beaches and stuff. Well, okay, so Robbie, when we go to the beach, he keeps his shoes on and his socks on because he doesn't like the sand. So he's kind of like in Star Wars when Anakin is talking about how much he hates Tatooine and at the sand. That's Robbie. And
Yeah,
he's going to
fair.
tell you that it was like he was just being silly, but he wasn't, because he's done it more than once. So he's doing a bit. That's what he always says. It was a bit. No, it wasn't. You've done it.
And
I'm like, get in the water with me. He's like, but then I have to take off my shoes and socks.
and then 2 people you think should be on the show.
Love Darth Verbaka. He would you would laugh hysterically with him. And he's awesome. Like I said, he's like the other brother I never had. Other one. Who else, Robbie? Who else? He's like, I'm out of this question. I should have thought of this, shouldn't I have, to giving you an answer, because it's rapid fire. Darth, and I mean, I love Kanara. Kanara's hilarious.
I was waiting for it. I was like, she's gonna end up saying Kanara. I already know.
Yeah.
And I watch her streams, so I would 100% support it. But I was just waiting for you to say it.
Yeah.
And then, do you have any future events or opportunities that you would like to promote on the show while you're here?
Yeah, so like I said, tomorrow we're doing a fundraiser as part of our 3-year anniversary here. Robbie actually does do some streaming, very rarely, but streams some games, and so it'll be his 1-year anniversary of doing that. And so we've got that going on tomorrow, that we're raising money for St. Jude Live, and it'll be both of us cooking in here, and there'll be sabotages and all sorts of fun stuff. And the other thing that's coming up starting on June 4th, I believe, I think that's a Tuesday, Darth Verbaka and I do a food fight, which is a bracket-style tournament. So it's one 90-minute round, and each of the competitors pick an ingredient, but then I spin the wheel of doom, and that will determine on what they are kind of cooking. So I don't get too specific because I'm not in their kitchen. I haven't stocked it. So it's usually something like something that's layered, or late night snack, or, something like that. And then they have to convince us, after they've cooked it, that it meets the criteria for that, and that it tastes good. And there are sabotages for that, and we let the chefs each pick their charity. So when people donate to sabotage them, that money goes to their charity as well. And last time we did this, we raised over $3,000 for the charities of our chefs.
So wonderful.
That worked well. Yeah. It's funny. It's fun. It's fun to see how people are going to try and zest an orange while they've only got one hand.
I'm in.
Yeah.
And also, Dana, you should tell people about your regular streams that you do on a regular basis in that schedule.
Well, thank you. Yeah, so we stream on Sundays. We stream at 5 p.m. Central Time on Sundays right now, and maybe somewhere in the future we'll get back to our regular stream, our regular streaming thing, which will also be on Wednesdays. But for now, we've got that. Huh? No, I work on Thursdays now. Robbie's like, Thursdays. No, it used to be Thursdays, but then I started working on Thursdays. Anyway, so that's what we got coming up. So we're not streaming this Sunday because it's Mother's Day, so we're doing it tomorrow instead. But then after that, it'll be on Sundays. It's Mother's Day, and I'm going to blissfully do nothing. So.
I'm jealous.
My one's in Seattle, my other's out of town on work, so it'll be Robbie and I, and we're gonna do nothing. It'll be fun.
Take out and sip martinis all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I would say, but Harley, you can just have your kids do everything for you, and then cite it's Mother's Day, so do what I say.
So I don't get to have that privilege, because I do have 2 grandmothers and a mother. So it has been decided that there will be a family cookout on Sunday. And I did get asked if I was supposed to grace myself with that present. And I said, well, I'd be kind of an asshole if I bought cards and gifts and then just didn't show up. So,
Or
hopefully,
it's a boundary. I just
I know.
need
I'm
my
like,
self-care day.
well, I'll show up for a little bit, but when I find it out, I'm probably gonna find it out. Like, it's my one day. Sundays are my one day to like clean and get prepped for the next week. So,
Yeah. I would say, but also, like, my mom and I were talking about it. I don't plan on going down to our hometown to go see her and stuff like that. But I did get her a gift, and it's a replica of the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and it's her own star that says Best Mother Award, and it has her name
that
on
is
it and the date
adorable.
and everything. And then after I bought it for her, I said, dang it, my mom got a Walk of Fame star before I did.
As she should, because without her, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's true.
That is also true.
Yeah, but also she's one of the most supportive people in my life. Anything that I want to do, she's always there for it.
Aw.
So she deserves it. But Dana, is there anything else that you'd like to highlight before we wrap things up?
No, I think that's what I got going on, and I think that's it. Is there anything? Am I missing anything? Robbie says no, I'm not missing. He actually is also my note taker, because I'll be like, could you make sure you write that down? Robbie's gonna write that down so I don't forget it. Robbie, did I miss it? Yeah.
And
Like I said, whatever.
I'm gonna say, is there anybody in chat that has any questions that they want to ask Dana before we wrap things up? And I will let the clock run for like 60 seconds before I completely go into the goodbye stuff. So
Can I ask you guys a quick question?
yes.
Okay. So what is your what, at any point in your life, what's the worst guilty pleasure food that you've had?
Carbs. Anything carbs.
Anything specific though? Like, let me start. I'll give you mine. How's that?
Okay.
When I was younger, I have not done this in like 40 years, but I actually longer than that again, 45 years. I used to, when I was younger, I used to take butter, except it was margarine because my mom did my butter.
Right.
And I would stick it in the sugar bowl, and then I would eat the butter with the sugar. Just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Guilty pleasure for me, and I'll let Flair close it off. It's always been a thing, and everybody thinks I'm weird. Every once in a while, if I'm craving something like super, super salty, because like I know I haven't had something salty, I might sip some pickle juice.
Ty does that too, and I think it's so weird.
It's so good though.
Cause I'll be like, I'm gonna throw out this pickle jar. Do you want the juice? And I'll be like, keep it. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. But also, like, there's some drinks too, like cocktail drinks that have pickle juice and stuff in them too. So I'm like, I don't know what he uses it for, but I look in the fridge and the jar's getting lower, so he's doing it for something.
It's got good electrolytes in it. It's actually good for hydration.
Yeah. My guilty pleasure, things that I just, if I could eat it all the time, I would, is like loaded baked potato bites.
Oh, yeah, those would be good.
Like the breaded ones and the deep fried.
Mm, with all the sour cream and the cheese and everything on it. Ah, if I could
That's
have
fair.
that. That's just.
Love it.
But also, I wish that at some point, like, I could just go somewhere and it was all for like the dinner was just all like appetizer, like type of like hors d'oeuvre type of things, just to list like fun things to eat that are like that type of thing.
Fun. So, like, I love tapas restaurants. Like, if you go and do tapas, it's a lot like that. And then that way you can have like a bite or two, and then you have a bite or two of that one.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Well, it looks like no other questions
right.
popped up. So, without further ado, we are going to wrap up this stream. Our next stream will be on June the 28th at 2 p.m., not 7 p.m., because our guests will be in the UK, and we are not having them stay up until midnight to do their interview.
We're
So,
not feral people.
that's so nice of you.
yeah, so it will be
Don't
Luke
tell my
White.
boss.
he will be it will be Luke White. He is a UK YouTube and Eurovision and actor and all kinds of fun stuff. So, and he will be also promoting his new songs that just came out in this last week. So,
Yay!
we'll be doing all kinds of that fun stuff. And then after that will be Andy, who is an author. But like I said, it'll be 2 o'clock. The promotional materials for that will come out probably the 28th or so of this month, since it's more than a month away from now. It also gives me time to listen to his music and ask him certain questions and stuff like that. But Luke and I have had a relationship for a long time. But I also want to thank Dana for taking the time to cook for us and letting our community know more about her and helping us kind of create a bigger audience for people who come in and do the talk show to show people the extraordinary things that ordinary people do on a regular basis. So thank you, Dana, and I hope you had a wonderful time. And
Great time.
and who knows, maybe because I have ideas that pop up every once in a while that maybe we'll do a cooking challenge with Dana where she'll have to give us instructions on how to do things and we may have to cook them.
Ooh, that would be fun. I'm up for it.
Yep. So be on the lookout. We're going to wrap things up, and let me see who we have out here to raid, because the one thing I do love to do is when we're streaming is finding somebody who is also friends of our community and going to say hi to them. Let's see who's on right now.
You don't have someone, I have someone.
I'm looking. Not anyone that I'm super close to right now that they would be like, oh my god, it's Flair type of thing. Who do you got?
They wouldn't say, oh my god, it's Flair, but they'll recognize your name because of me.
Okay, who is it?
It's my friend Arcady671.
Spell it.
ARKAY or ADY.
ADY.
671.
Okay, I hope I did this right. We'll see. Yep.
Arcady has been around since my first sports. So.
All right, we will raid out to them, and then we will end stream, and I will see you all on. Well, I'll probably stream this weekend. Let's be honest, but
see you this weekend.
But Monday for sure at 7 o'clock we'll be doing more X-Men. Because of the series that's on Disney right now. So I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will see you all then. Bye-bye!
All right. Good night.
Thanks, Dana. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.